expecting the clock to be right when I came in here.
Nah.
I was all ready for it to say 10 o'clock
I come prepared.
and feel confused for the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Jan knows how to spring ahead.
But Jan's too on top of his shit in here.
I waited the whole weekend.
Yep.
I counted down, and then I pressed the button, and then I went home.
You were crouched in the corner,
Yep.
ready to pounce on that clock.
The sweater's mine now.
That's, what, 2
By
a.m.?
law, yeah.
Yeah,
that
2,
is-
2 a.m. Sunday morning, something like that.
Is it 2 a.m.?
Yeah.
Somewhere
Yeah.
around there?
Well, there was no 2 a.m., but it would have been 2 a.m.
oh, man.
I
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess so.
Man, we just lost that hour.
But what,
Jesus.
what if you
To
were
the
born
wind.
at 2 a.m. on Sunday?
You'd be born at 3 a.m.
So you don't actually exist.
Yep.
You can legally do whatever you want.
That's right. You're
It's
a
like
ghost
the
man.
purge.
This has been the worst daylight savings time in history. Anybody
Right?
else?
This
no,
is the one?
man.
I
it's-
feel like I don't
Well, I
know.
was sick, so I was
Okay.
sleeping weird anyway.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
I actually feel well rested for the first time in months.
Don't know
Yeah,
what's
today
happening.
I woke up feeling fantastic, and
I slept well into the double digits.
Okay,
Yeah.
It was great.
okay, sure. All right, I guess it's just me then.
Brad, you need to go hibernate for spring, I guess.
Are we not done with this yet?
this daylight savings
We
thing
passed that proposition last year.
to make it daylight savings full time.
Oh, yeah, we tried.
Wait, is that what's
tried to
happening
make it
here?
happen.
I believe that was the plan.
Is it DST all time,
That's
all
right.
day,
Yeah.
all year?
All day, every day.
DST is DTF.
Not okay.
Down to fornicate.
Yes, right.
That's not even obfuscating the original DTF.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, but it's just a little bit cleaner.
But it's,
That's right. For the
right.
kids.
We're in the first minute.
He's classing
Yeah.
it up here.
First minute.
How are we gonna monetize this podcast if he says?
How are
what
we
it
going to
actually-
monetize daylight savings time?
Ooh, that's a good question.
down to
Something to do with the
Sunglasses. That's the answer.
TikTok sunglasses.
TikTok sunglasses that only post to TikTok.
Oh God.
I don't want all year daylight savings.
Check it
'Cause
out,
I
though.
like when it gets dark.
Check it out, though. What if it was light later, and then when you got home from work, you felt like maybe there was still some day left?
Maybe
and
there
you-
was still some hope left in the world.
Maybe you had some time to live, as opposed to
Yeah.
getting home and thinking, "Well, guess I got to go to bed soon," and then wake up and do it
As
all
the
over
farmers
again.
intended it, Jeff.
Yeah, right.
It's just time to lie down in this coffin and try to be oblivious for
I
a
have
few hours.
I have a lot of good memories associated with daylight savings time, and like my parents, being done with work and still
Sure.
having time to do shit.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Okay.
that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And as someone who has to drive 40 miles at the end of the fucking day, driving home in pitch blackness is a good way to make you feel like, well, I'm going to crawl directly into bed when I get home because fuck everything.
What's so bad about that?
I want to get home and feel like, man,
The world is full of possibility.
I could do something.
Yeah.
And then choose to go right to bed.
Okay. All right.
Exactly. A man
Yeah.
chooses.
It's really just
right.
a,
Yes.
just a matter of
Man,
perception.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I still feel like the optimal thing would be like, hey, why don't we just live a different life and choose to like be done with work at 4 and start work at 5, whatever, and just everyone shift their hours, and then we all prescribe to watch internet time.
Okay. Well, you had me for a second. I was with you. It was for the people.
Now I want you for a beat.
You DSTers had your chance. We had a vote.
Mm-hmm.
How long is one beat?
We voted no.
No, I think we voted. Yeah,
I don't remember what
I don't
we
remember
voted.
what we.
I don't
voted.
remember what we.
A beat is like a minute and change.
A lot of
What?
other things I paid attention to a little more closely in the
Yeah.
last election.
What? A beat is equivalent to 1 minute and 26.4 seconds.
Right.
How did they arrive?
0.4 seconds.
Well,
How did they arrive at this?
it's metric time. There are 1,000 beats in a day.
Okay.
So if you
Oh.
divide the 24-hour, if you just if you do the math on 24 hours in a day, but 1,000 beats in a day,
Each beat is equal to 1 decimal minute in the French Revolutionary Decimal Time System.
yes, the French Revolutionary Decimal Time System.
Yes.
How does this account for daylight savings?
Robespierre was a big Swatch fan.
Yeah, the whole point is that that only comes into play when you're converting to time for the olds. This whole like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. What the fuck does that even mean?
Soon nobody's gonna know. Like
In beats, none of it matters. In beats, it just becomes I wake up at 300 beats, and then it becomes like, oh no, I wake up at 264 beats,
Right.
Because we're on daylight savings time now.
I remember when I was at my grandpa's house at a really early age, I had on a digital watch and Velcro shoes, and he was like, "Oh, you kids, in the future, no one's going to be able to know how to tell time or tie their shoes."
It's true.
Which, first of all, is
my
true.
God.
Like, we're all
Wow.
walking around tripping all
He
the
called
time.
I am tripping right now.
Well, that's because of all the robotests.
Yeah. Well, that's a separate thing.
but I was gonna say, you know, with this new beat system, I feel like we can eliminate the need for time entirely because they'll just have beat clocks everywhere. You won't have
Totally.
to. I'm starting to come around on it. You know, we work with an East Coast office and having to try and like go back and
Exactly.
forth between
Like
East Coast
just
time and
yesterday,
West Coast
trying to
time.
plan that live stream, it was
Ugh.
like, we're going to do it like 1 o'clock your time. And, you know, people are doing math in their heads. If you just said,
Terrible.
we're doing it at 800 beats, and everyone knew what 800 beats meant in their particular time zone, they could say things like, I'll be asleep because that's 800 beats. Don't be weird.
If you have a platform that eliminates the need for me to add and subtract by the number 3 constantly, then I'm all for it.
Great. Yeah. I have that exact system.
Great.
God, I was up till 8:93 playing the Division last night. I just,
Yeah.
man, I'm
Yeah,
really
me
feeling it
too.
today.
See, and that's why Phantasy Star Online was ahead of its time by integrating beats right into the game, is because when you had to plan to play with players in different parts of the world,
Okay, sure.
time zones get in the way. If you're trying to play the Division with people in, you know, on the other side of the world, you got to go like, well, what side of the date line are you on? What UTC? What not -8 and this and
You saying the dollar flu went worldwide?
pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
The green poison.
Are there
Should have.
are there higher order measurements of beats? Is there like what is the hour equivalent in beats?
Bait.
Kilobeats.
Centibeats?
I don't
Kilobeats.
think- Yeah, kilobeats.
No,
Okay.
beats.
I don't think there is. I think it's
Huh.
just beats.
I guess a kilobeat would just be a day, right?
Beaters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Centibeats.
All right.
Mhm.
Let's make it happen. I'm ready.
I've been like low key trying to make this happen. Like I have to have it. Well, I don't. Yeah, it is. Well, I don't know if this is right or not because of the daylight savings time, but it says here it's 8:01 in beats right now.
Wait, what? How's that possible?
000 is midnight in Switzerland.
Oh, you're going by
Swiss time.
Swiss time.
Well, everyone is because
Because
it's
it's beats.
Oh, it's,
it's
not
eight-
adjusted.
I mean, it
to
has
your-
no
oh
sense
my
to
God,
us.
there,
There
is
is
no,
it's
not.
there are no
Jesus.
time zones. The whole
Oh,
point of
Jesus.
this
That's
is there are no time
okay. That's
zones.
way too much for me.
That's the whole point
The
of
whole
it.
point.
No, I
is
need
that
I
it's
need
too
a
much
I
for
need
you.
I need a relative starting point.
No, because if you just knew, like,
can't.
I go to work at this
The
time.
podcast
because I
starts
live
at
here,
800
Yes.
beats every day, every Tuesday.
That might be wrong though, because it's probably keyed off of time, and you know these apps are all very old.
Space and meaning.
Yeah, these apps are all very old.
This is ridiculous. I've changed my mind. I'm out.
Damn it,
All right, well,
Phantasy Star Online fans, stay tuned. I got your back. We're gonna figure this out.
Hope is still
Yay.
alive.
That's right.
I do not
Play
believe.
soccer in lobbies again.
Yes, I do not believe that the Division 2 lets you set a time to beats format, but you can switch between metric and imperial.
They do have fancy watches.
That's true. They do. They also got that little orange circle on their backpack.
Yeah,
I don't
Another
know-
watches.
I don't know what that means.
why would you be using metric in our nation's capital?
I know, right?
It's treasonous.
It defaults to metric even.
What? Ubisoft needs to be stopped.
well, no. Yeah, the Division 2. It's out.
Yes. I get.
Well, for
Yes?
some people.
Yes,
Yes,
it's out.
it's out.
Yeah, it's a,
If you only paid $60, you don't get to play until Friday, but the game is out.
One more time.
Ugh.
That's not going anywhere.
Yeah, that's like
I know.
that is like time zone math for game
trying to-
releases.
I'm trying to figure out-
We need a Swatch internet game release time.
Trying to figure out what the least amount of money is that you can pay.
Oh,
to
I
play
think
the
it's- I
think
Division.
it's
80, right? The gold
80.
edition we'll get in right
Yes.
now, right?
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
80. Yes.
and the
Okay.
Should
and
I
the
pay
doors.
$80 to play this game
No.
right now?
Obviously.
No.
No, because it's already Tuesday.
Well, the other thing is, my understanding is that all you're getting out of all the content add-ons for this game are going to be free in year one.
Okay.
And the gold edition just gets you like 7-day early access to all those add-ons.
Plus the season.
Oh.
But anybody that buys
pass.
my understanding is if you just buy the $60 edition, you're still going to get all the content this year. You're just not going to get in quite as early.
And you won't get like a cool pair of shoes or
Gold.
Yeah, there might be
Right.
like
Crossbow.
one. There might be like one piece of apparel or something.
Isn't
But
there a season pass?
I saw a whole bunch of people on
No.
like the subreddit,
I think the
the word going around was like, "Hey, don't buy the expensive version of this game. Like you're getting next to nothing out of it,
But I get
Yeah.
to
Should always
play
be the word.
earlier.
except for early access."
There we go.
I feel like that's kind of one of the things with live games
Hmm.
and multiplayer focused games like this is that pressure to, well, we all need to start at the same time because
Yeah.
if I don't start when my friends start,
Right.
then I'm going to be
Jeremy's
8
going to
levels
get some
behind them.
epic loot, and
Yeah.
he's going to
And
not
then
want to
they'll-
play with
they'll
us.
never play with me because I'm 3 days behind
Jeremy's
them.
got a kid and you can never play anyway.
You tell Jeremy I said that Jeremy can go fuck Jeremy.
You know what? I will say the games we played some of it yesterday.
Yes.
The game seems pretty good about tracking progress, even if you're not in the same spot. So we did that stream,
Right.
and we ran like 3 side missions on your game.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't done the story mission that even opens up the settlement that lets you do those side missions because they upgrade your base.
Right.
When I did that story mission after the stream, it immediately gave me all those upgrades.
Oh, cool.
Like I got progress for doing
Yeah.
those missions. The
Oh,
base
nice.
just like the second the base unlocked, the camera pulled out and it was just like, hey, we got a game room now, and like
Oh,
here's
cool.
our
Yeah.
hydroponics setup.
Got a barbecue.
Yeah, and a barbecue.
So here's my chief problem with the Division 2.
Uh-oh.
When you unlock that
chief.
game room in the settlement, you can look at the TV and see the kids playing video games.
Okay.
And one of them is For Honor, an online-only internet-based game.
Okay.
Are you serious?
That would not be able to be played
Man,
in
that
the
is
world of the
some
Division 2.
bullshit.
Okay,
I
hold
thought
on.
the Division. I thought Clancy was about authenticity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought the Tom Clancy name meant something.
Check this out. Narrative storytelling. This is how it's called. Narrative story.
I love narrative storytelling.
Immersive narrative storytelling. This child was a top level For Honor player before the dollar flu struck, and now he can't compete anymore. He lost his sponsorship. He lost everything. So he just plays versus AI all day, every day, trying to relive the glory days of when he was a top. He doesn't have a gaming chair anymore. He
Oh,
doesn't
man.
have Gamer
Oh,
Fuel
wow.
anymore.
Yeah.
We all
dried up.
anticipated that. Like every day we'd wake up, get in our gaming chair.
Yeah.
Now I need to
Order
like
our
download
coffee.
For Honor and see if you can even do versus AI
I'm
offline
not
or
even
not.
sure if you can do that, but
Yeah, I wonder.
Jeff, it's about the stories that you can contextual storytelling. I think was what I was looking for.
Great.
You know, it's like finding somebody dead in a bathtub in Fallout.
Yeah, I
76.
found someone trying to play For Honor in the world of the Division 2. And
No, actually, it turns out that the data center for the For Honor servers is in the basement of the White House. So it was right there. It was right there
You
the
know,
whole time.
That makes
so,
a whole lot of sense.
So they're just using Kali and like tunneling to it.
Yeah, it's like when they talk about putting the Shade network back up, they're talking about actually about being able to access
the first
For
thing
Honor
that goes
servers.
up, are the,
Yeah.
the servers for
You know,
Ubisoft's
mission
old
critical
games.
services
Yeah.
come back first.
Um,
That game seems pretty good.
I like it.
I bounced off the first game really fast, and
Yeah.
I'm getting into this one a lot more seamlessly for whatever reason.
Which
I'm
is
not-
weird. It's I think that they
Is it kind of the
changed a lot
same
of
game?
the ramp
Yeah.
to get you into the game and its systems. Like that stuff is different, but the game itself is very much
It's
the
very
same.
much the Division.
Yeah. Um,
Also, like we did that stream yesterday, and it was a ton of fun.
mhm.
You know, because playing games with your friends is more fun.
Exactly.
I played it a bunch solo after that.
Yeah.
Less fun.
Yes.
Like real world setting, kind of super bland.
Yeah.
and
It's a
that kind of old fashioned style of cover shooting. I feel like without the teammates there helping you flank and like tag teaming abilities together and stuff like that, like it's a
Also,
little
kind of hard.
yes.
yeah. So
Really?
But I like
some
that
difficulty,
actually
yeah.
about it. Well, for the most part, I like that.
So the thing that's like the thing I'm really enjoying about the Division 2 is that it's like fucking hard.
it does not mess around.
But it's hard in a way that is saying, "Hey, we put all these systems in the game for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
Use them."
Yeah.
And so you have to use your abilities intelligently. It's a game where you don't just recharge by hiding behind cover.
Yeah, the enemies are very good at flanking.
They
in this
flank
game.
the shit
Yeah,
out of you.
Yeah.
You have to use your armor recharge things to heal up in
Yeah.
mid combat,
Yep.
and you only have like a set number of them. And so, like, it is challenging in a way that is fair because it's like I feel like it's asking you to use the systems.
Yeah.
But that said, it still can be pretty fucked up.
Yes.
I thought it was just trying to funnel me into like playing with people.
Well,
Or
I mean
something.
that like
it's not easier with people.
It's yeah.
we learned very quickly
The
yesterday.
thing that's easier with people is the open world. Like, so the missions and stuff checkpoint you all the time. So if you die, you just restart at the checkpoint and you can just go again.
You basically just start on the fight you die
Yeah.
on. So it's not,
But
it's
it's
not
when
a
you're
problem.
doing stuff out in the open world, like taking over control points and stuff like that, that like if you're alone, you're kind of fucked because if you go down, you are restarting the whole thing. Whereas if you go down and there are other players there, you can quickly respawn and get back to help them, or they can pick you back up. And so those open world, those open world events are actually significantly easier with like other players.
I can see that.
And so that's the problem I ran into last night is trying to take over control points and just being like, man, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I died on what are the question marks? Or those just kind of world events?
Yeah, that'll
or
be like a public
unknown?
execution
Yeah.
or a propaganda
I
broadcast.
died
or
on one of
things you
those
can-
this morning.
Yeah.
Like, 2 of the baton
Yeah.
people ran up on me, and I was getting
Yeah,
shot from
like
2 different angles, and they just beat me down.
They rush you, they
Yeah.
flank you.
Yeah.
Like the AI will come the fuck at you with
Yep.
everything it has.
Yep.
And And all those enemies, I feel like the main complaint I think people will have about the game is that the enemies are bullet sponges.
Yeah.
Which, a lot of cover shooters do that. This game is no exception. But like, it's like enemies that take a few too many shots to drop, combined with like they are very tactical.
Yeah.
In like the baton guys rush the shit out of
Yeah,
you.
get up on you,
And while they are up on you and you have to pop out of cover, you immediately start getting shot, and you're like, man, this is fucked up.
Yep.
But I kind of appreciate that.
Yeah. I would take that over it being too easy any day.
Yeah, the first game was too easy, I think. At least the story level difficulty, like they ramp it up. They have their end game stuff that they patched in later on, like that, was more challenging. But yeah, this game I think is tougher than the first game, but I think it's like kind of cool. And they give you abilities that help kind of mitigate some of that stuff, like the drop a thing that makes a cloud that restores your armor.
Yeah.
So
there's
you don't
like
have to keep popping the armor add-ons.
There's like 3 or 4 skills in there that are just about healing or reviving. There's
Yeah.
like a revive grenade, I think, or is it a drone?
Yeah.
There's like a
revive
drone.
grenade.
You can basically like deploy a thing that will remotely revive people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, are these? Are you playing a character class
No,
or just
not at all.
generic, like a skill tree? You working
There's a
with?
skill.
Okay.
Well, it's less of a tree and more of like you have.
Line.
It's like a selection of abilities.
Yeah, you have perks that are like passives
Mm-hmm.
that you are constantly earning points that you can spend towards those, and then the 8 like skill platforms that have variants and stuff like that. So it's like I got the drone and it shoots people, but
Okay.
Yeah,
there's
it's like
also a drone variant that can blind people, or like
Yeah.
do other stuff.
Categories are like drone, turret,
Seeker mine.
seeker mine, chemical launcher,
Shield. Did you
yeah,
say
shield. There's like a big
shield.
riot shield. There's,
So like the chemical launcher can be a thing that shoots riot foam that roots people and puts them in place.
Yeah.
Or you can shoot a cloud that oxidizes enemy armor away.
yeah.
Okay.
Or I got one
and-
that shoots a cloud of flammable gas, which is
So-
pretty awesome because you shoot it on guys, and then when they shoot, it will ignite.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's some neat stuff. But also, I think the chemical launcher shoots a healing cloud
Yes,
as well.
it
Like,
can.
so it can be
So
a
like
lot of
yeah,
things.
like there are like 8 skill platforms and like 4 of them have variants that involve healing. And so like buffing and healing your team is like I'd say especially if you're playing alone is super valuable.
So you're
How do
always
the-
matched up with AI partners?
No.
Okay.
no.
How do those variants work? So say you got 2 different like drones, so one that just shoots dudes, and then one that heals as well.
Yeah.
How do you deploy those in the field?
You only have one
You can
equipped at
only
a
have
time.
One, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
so you can have 2 skills equipped, but I think
Yeah.
it's 1 per platform.
Okay. I
think
So
that's right.
it's like you can unlock variants. There are 4 variants across each one of the platforms. But you equip 2.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so right now I used the pulse in the first game, which would highlight enemies on like through walls and stuff like that, and all that stuff. The pulse seems way worse in this game than it was in the first game.
Didn't seem very enticing. No.
And so in the first game, it would like eventually you would, and there are mod slots on the skill, so maybe eventually you get there, but like the range of it is reduced, and it doesn't do like it would do a damage buff.
Oh, okay.
So you would ping them all on your radar and then do more damage when you hit them. So it was like really useful.
Some of the enemies are just hard to see in this game. Like they blend into the background,
Yeah.
in a way that seems intentional.
So like HDR is like really like this game is dark and like the corners seem more dangerous. Like it's just a more dangerous game all around.
Yeah.
And I think I like that about
Yeah.
it. But yeah, it's not it's significantly more difficult when you're playing alone. Even though the main missions will checkpoint you and all that stuff, you can get through the story difficulty missions like no problem. If you're at the appropriate level, you can do it.
I thought it was just me. It's good to hear that it's
Yeah.
not just.
It's
okay.
it's definitely like it's a game that if you are playing with a squad of people and using your skills appropriately and
Right.
stuff, you will have a much easier time with things than you would otherwise.
Makes sense.
I think some of it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Like it
Little
looks a lot
dated.
like the first game, but like there's a lot of draw in and pop in when you're
Yeah.
kind of changing areas.
Yeah.
And
I wanted to ask, the setting in Washington D.C. Nothing against D.C., but it just seems like kind of a downgrade in terms of what you can do with it, and like versus New York. I feel like New York is such a robust and open, and there's a lot of different things you associate it with. Sure, D.C. has like the White House
Right.
and famous monuments and stuff like
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
the geography of the town seems just very plain.
It's very flat. I mean, New York was not was pretty flat as well, but
Yeah.
it had buildings that went up a bit. But you barely went into them. Like the number of buildings in New York that you could go into and like you did significant things inside of that were not part of missions. Like missions are their own thing.
I could swear I remember wandering around in some like apartment buildings.
Some
and
of them,
stuff.
yes,
Okay.
but not enough of them to
Okay.
where it felt like it was truly taking advantage of that verticality.
Yeah.
Whereas there was one mission we did when we were streaming yesterday that was like a rooftop fight
Yeah.
and stuff, and that I feel like did a pretty good job of like feeling like a more vertical battle than a lot of the other stuff. But that's a crafted story mission. It's not just like wandering around the open world.
Right.
I think that game might have the most accessible loot interface of like recent games of this type. Like I swear I'm not just looking for an excuse to rag on Anthem, but it coming out so recently.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to avoid making the comparison.
Sure.
Being able to get into your loadout, change a thing out, and get out of the loadout in the space of like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't feel so refreshing, but
Yeah.
it really does.
Well, you can't change when you're in combat.
Well, yeah, but that's a like an arbitrary restriction.
Yeah.
It's not a like you have to hit a load screen to see your gear.
Right.
Like it's very snappy. in that regard.
I wish that they had done a better job of like putting like the stats they track on loot and how they show like what's more powerful than what. I feel like is still obfuscated in a way that like they've got this toggle between like here's the number that it says it does for like, hey, here's the armor number, and then there's something called normalized stats.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. I think those might be like the stats that it takes on when you go into the dark zone, because the stats change to normalize it across multiple players of different level.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Dark zone is the multiplayer area, and things get broken up by tiers. So when you're like character level 1 through 9, you'll be in a tier, and then when you're in 10 through whatever, so that they tier it out that way. And then when you hit the cap, I think the tiering eventually becomes about your gear score. So like what you have equipped as opposed to your character level.
Interesting.
And so those numbers start to matter more there, I think. But it's because all the items have a level. It's like here's a level 7 helmet, here's a level 7 mask, here's a level 8 mask. The level 8 mask isn't always guaranteed to be better than the level 7, but maybe it is. I made some seemingly minor changes to my character last night and suddenly was doing twice as much damage,
Really?
which seemed like a lot for what I had done.
Yeah.
And like I'm still not quite sure what it did. What I
Could
did
have been like
to change
additional
it.
skills, like you get an additional 15% damage or something like that. That might be.
Yeah, there's some of the
play. Who
gear.
knows?
So
Yeah.
a lot of the gear will have those types of percentage bonuses to like your skill cooldowns or
Sure.
other stuff like that. So it could have been something like that, but it's not always easy to see. And I
Yeah,
wish that
exactly.
stuff was presented more plainly.
Yeah, they throw a lot of data at you.
Yeah.
Like every gun literally has a graph of like, here's the damage fall off over
Yeah.
distance,
The
which is a
graph
cool thing.
fantastic.
It's a cool thing to
I
see.
I like that a lot.
It's a cool thing to see, but like, what I really just want is a fat number, like Destiny style.
I like this.
No, I mean all the other stuff is good to have too, but I want just a number that says here is on the scale of every weapon you could possibly get. Here's where this ranks.
Yeah.
So you can just,
like the-
swap and
yeah,
just,
like
justify things like at a glance.
Yes.
Like, oh, we got new loot.
Yes.
That
Like,
number's
This is
higher.
better than
let me
that.
go
Yeah.
for it.
Instead, there's a lot of,
I
especially
get
with
it.
guns, there's a lot of trade-offs around the type of weapon. Like, so Diablo 3 eventually just got away from a lot of its fucking esoteric numbers in terms of just like, yo, this is an arrow pointing up.
Yep.
And they got way into just straight up DPS.
Yes, a DPS number is exactly
Yeah.
what I want.
And that's the thing this game could really use for its guns, because it's like, okay, this is a higher number, but it's it's a lower damage number but a higher rate of fire, fewer rounds in the magazine, like those sorts of trade-offs where you're not always clear what is better than what.
Yep.
And so because some of it's going to come down to personal taste, I guess, of like, oh well, I'm good at headshots, so this type of rifle is going to be fine for me, whereas other people might want a fully automatic weapon or whatever. But I would still like to know just straight up DPS, like, okay, assume I'm hitting my target with every shot, what's better than what? Because I'm fine at the shooting, it's not hard, but sometimes it's not always clear.
Yeah.
Which items are the good items, and that gets frustrating, especially because you're just
At a
getting,
glance, yeah.
getting shit all the time. So every time you open up your interface, and it's something like Diablo 3, I think over time had to deal with and they found really handy ways, especially when the console ports hit for Diablo, of just like, here's very rapid loot management.
Right.
Like at a glance, is this something I even want to look into to see if it's better than anything I have, or do I know at a glance this is way worse? I think that's something they could really use. And that's something that I would have expected going into this game.
Yeah, being a sequel.
Based on the changes they made over the course of Division 1, they did start to get more into like that gear score stuff that I don't think they launched with that. I think that was something they got into, like kind of maybe looking at Destiny a little bit. And this doesn't seem like it seems like there's more that they could do to make that system
Definitely
easier to grasp for more people.
Okay.
Like the armor is pretty easy because you mostly just look at the armor number.
Right.
Like is the armor number higher than the other one? Then equip it. Like that's easy.
And they simplified weapon mods in a really nice way that, like, when I first looked at it, I was like, this seems fucking terrible. But I was like, oh, okay. Because it used to be that every single mod was a unique item. So you would find a scope, and it was like, that's a physical item in your inventory that you can apply to a weapon. If you want to put it on a different weapon, you are taking it off this weapon to put it on this weapon. And now it's like actually just a tier of unlocks. So I have unlocked scopes, and now every weapon I have that can take a scope, I can put this scope or this scope on it.
Okay.
And so all the weapon mods are now trade-offs, where it's like, okay, this is 25% accuracy minus 10% stability.
That's
and so that is it's a much easier system than it was in the first game, where that stuff was just kind of a hassle. The mods on armor and I think your skill stuff are still unique items. And I've yet to even find one.
Yeah, same.
But the weapon mods specifically, that is a streamlined system that I think is much easier to deal with than it was last time out.
how's the story?
I was just about to say I barely know or care what's going on. Like, hey, there's bad guys everywhere. The flu happened.
So this is
let's survive.
It's like 7 months after the virus hit in New York. New York was ground zero. That was the first game. So this is like 7 months after those events, I guess.
Have they ever come out and stated explicitly that the virus spread outside of New York?
Yeah.
In the first game or before this? Because
I think the first game alludes to it.
I don't feel like this
They
game.
try to quarantine New York, but
Okay.
it's on money.
Sure.
But
But I feel like at the beginning of this game, you're in New York and you just get a distress call with a set of coordinates. It turns out those coordinates are the White House. But you get there and, like, obviously the flu is there, but they've never come out and say, like, hey, the quarantine failed, like it's everywhere now. The whole country's fucked.
But that's the intro to this game. The introductory cutscene to this game is it saying, hey, it spread.
Sure.
You
You mean that kind of
like coffee cup and all that other shit.
yes,
Like that is literally it saying, like, hey, things were fine until they fucking weren't.
Sure.
And so that's the setup there. So it's like 7 months later. I don't know. Yeah, they don't really. There's like loading screen tooltips that allude to some of the events of the first game. Of like, there's a bad agent, and he's the leader of the bad agents, and you find collectibles. It's kind of dumb.
My experience thus far is like you roll into the White House and the guy there is like, hey, cool, we got a new sheriff in town. Hey, go check out this mission. You go to that mission, you walk in, and you talk to her. Well, actually, you don't even talk to her because you're a silent protagonist. But she's like, hey, my daughter's missing. If you go find her, I'll remember that.
I'll upgrade the space for you.
And you go and you do that. And
I'll open up all the icons on the map.
You don't say anything. And she's like, thanks, I'll remember that. And
I'll
walk out.
I'll make all your side activities available if you go rescue my daughter.
Yeah, like all the missions so far, and I'm like level 9, but like all the missions so far have been about like helping out that society, that settlement and getting shit back on track. It's not really about the larger story about the world, and I assume it gets there because like you're picking up collectibles that are left behind by the bad agent, which is like just
weird.
The idea that like I stumbled upon a fucking cell phone, like the idea of collectible cell phones that all have exactly one message on them is ridiculous. But the idea that I happened to find one in the middle of DC that is the bad agent going, why am I leaving these clues? Am I doing this to do this? No, that'd be too easy. Am I doing it to do this? Who can say?
You could say.
It's like, this is terrible. This stuff is just terrible. And like that stuff made sense as like the post-credit. There was a post-credits thing in the first game where you went to his apartment or whatever and found a thing that was like, you should join me. Fucking fuck the government. And that was kind of where it left it.
Apparently he did.
Yeah.
He followed up on that.
and now like finding that, and that stuff is strewn amongst like the other stuff of like bandits talking to each other about fucking robbing people. Yeah. Some of them are that, some of them just happen to be this main antagonist guy like taunting you about his plans. It's like, why? All right. Fucking what?
Yeah, all the storytelling I've seen is functional. It's just super generic.
Yeah.
Like there's just not much to it.
I assume it eventually ramps into something that is more meaningful to like whatever the overall Division story is. But so far it's just been about like, we need batteries at the settlement.
Do they ever acknowledge that San Francisco would remain untouched because everyone here uses Apple Pay and Venmo and nobody's touched cash in the last 15 years?
No, but that's I feel like there's some aspect of the Division storyline that is rapidly becoming, it's like all the cell phones in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Like, or pay phones.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like, yeah,
where you're like in 10 years, people will be like, what's that?
I've literally, I'm trying to think back to the last time I used cash.
Oh, wow.
I do not remember.
I don't remember.
I've had a $20 bill in my wallet that, like, if it was less than that, I would have used it on the vending machines here to buy sodas all the time.
Oh, yeah, the vending machine.
Because it's a 20,
it's useless.
it's useless.
Has no value.
According to Rory, the one on the 6th floor takes card.
That's right.
Okay, we're safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quarantine.
And those Red Bulls
CPS.
are only
Great.
a buck.
Go up there and make
For
a
now.
25-cent charge on that machine.
No. Anyway, I'm enjoying it so far. It's pretty cool. I'm curious to see, like, you know, as more and more people get there, because I played most of it before it was technically out, and so or most of what I've played has been before it was been widely available in this country. And so, like, you know, I unlocked the ability to create a clan, so I did, and just got something on Twitter saying, "Hey, I joined your clan." Like, cool, all right. You need 4 people in it before it activates, and then there's a bunch of unlocks that come with clan size and ranking. There's and I haven't been into the Dark Zone stuff yet. That's the kind of the co-op / competitive kind of who's gonna go rogue and be a traitor. And
I never tried it in the first game because I bounced off it so fast, but it sounds like exactly what I want in a loot shooter, which is just like an area you can just kind of wander into and shit gets real. You know,
Yeah,
it's not like, you know, it's
idea,
like a Destiny. You have to load into a specific multiplayer map, and it's more like a deathmatch situation.
Right.
Like this is just an area of the map,
right,
that you can just walk into, and as soon as you're in there, like things just go bad.
Yeah, and
It's a cool idea.
and it's they don't always go bad.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is you can kind of team up with players, and you know, and I haven't seen it in this game at all, so I'm basing this off the first game. But you know, you're working together with players, and then you're like, we need to extract our loot because it's all contaminated. We can't just walk it back into the city. And then during extraction, someone decides, fuck this, I'm taking it all for myself and killing you all.
Do people nearby get a notification like, hey, these people are extracting?
Yes. So the extraction is like a flare and a whole process.
Okay.
And then as soon as someone turns, that's another notification.
Okay.
That like, hey, there's a bounty on this player's head. You should go kill them. And it sounds like they've expanded that system. Looking at the trophies and some of the other stuff, it sounds like that system has been built out further. And there's something else that's like I think there may be like a more standard kind of deathmatch or team
that's
deathmatch.
conflict.
There's something referred to as conflict.
So there's
clan rankings for that stuff.
I think that sounds like that just sort of traditional multiplayer. It sounds like there's multiple modes.
Yeah, I have not seen any of that, and that I think is fully new. I don't know if they patched that into the first game at any point, but that's
like the matchmaking. I don't know if it's an NPC or a terminal, but it's right outside the White House.
Oh, okay.
I think you just walk up to a thing and hit a button, and it starts matching you.
Interesting. Yeah. So now that the game's out, I'll be able to, you know, now that more people are playing it.
Yeah, and you get rewards out of that too. They say.
Yeah.
Is there a reason in the Dark Zone to kill people when they're not extracting? Like if you just see people around, does it benefit you to jump them in any way?
There's a risk reward with the rogue stuff where you're going to be gaining more XP, but also so you gain and lose XP in the Dark Zone.
Okay.
So you gain and lose Dark Zone levels based on what you're doing. So it sounds like that there's like a faster rise to the top if you're going fucking rogue, but then also there's a bigger bounty on your head the more you do it. So and also you can't just walk out of the Dark Zone if you're rogue. There's some, you have to kind of clear yourself before you can kind of get out. And so like if you just walk up to the at least in the first game, if you try to walk out, there are turrets there that'll just be like, fuck you.
And is that not an in-game activity? Like, can you go in there now and
it's tiered. So I just unlocked them. There's a mission you have to do that's like the tutorial for Dark Zone. So I just unlocked that about 5 hours in. And you could rush to it probably and get there faster if you really wanted to.
But it's not like you have to be level 30 to get in there. No.
And do like stuff. I said, they tier it. So you'll be in there with people at an appropriate level.
Okay.
And so that they basically shard it off to like, okay, once I get above level 10, it'll move me into the next tier up. So people used to do shit like, they would get their gear score up to just a certain level up close to the top, but so it'd be at the top of their current tier without bumping into the next one.
Yeah.
And then they would go in there and just fuck people up. And it was rough. I don't know. I liked the Dark Zone a lot early on, but the end game Dark Zone stuff really pushed me away. It was a killer idea that I think the people who were into it got way into it, but it wasn't something like it got to a point where it's like, okay, like the rewards were not worth it for me as someone who wasn't going to like live and breathe by that mode.
Right.
Like you would find some loot that sometimes would be better and sometimes wouldn't, it just wasn't guaranteed.
Does it match you with a group if you go in by yourself?
No.
Oh, wow.
Huh. Can you take a group in there?
I assume so.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah.
When is this out for
Friday.
$60 plebs?
Friday.
Can you wait?
On the Epic
I'll
Store.
try.
Okay.
And Uplay on PC.
Yeah, that's right.
I haven't seen I have not played the PC version at all. I've only seen PS4.
Seems pretty well optimized. Yeah, I'm playing
Yeah.
it on my laptop on like high settings,
Cool.
and I'm getting like 60 frames.
Yeah,
per
the
second.
first game ran really well on PC,
Yeah.
at least in my experience.
Yeah,
So,
I'm playing on Ultra on my big boy PC, but that's got a 980 in it. It's running really well. They've got lots of HDR settings, lots of accessibility to as far as bringing up the font size, which I certainly appreciate an awful lot.
That doesn't adjust all the fonts though. I tried that too.
Yeah,
some of that stuff. There's some of the button prompt tooltips are like I had to squint to see which.
Seems like anything
button.
in the lower left hand corner,
Yeah.
they won't actually.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they won't increase that font size.
Yeah.
But they've got like the eye tracker stuff. I forgot what it's called.
Toby,
something like that. Yeah, where you can actually like mark enemies with just a glance. That seems really cool.
That's kind of cool.
That would be pretty helpful, I'm sure.
Sometimes I think about we should get one of those and try it out.
Yeah.
I don't know what. It doesn't seem
I'll
like
use
it
it for
would be
this.
that useful, but that actually does sound kind of cool.
Yeah, games that integrate it, well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. We ran a stream on Monday of like early game stuff, side missions and all that stuff. We'll record a proper quick look later in the week, once I've kind of chewed through more of it. Because I think now I'm kind of just past some of the stuff that was in the beta, which I didn't play every mission in the beta. I kind of played the first mission, went like, I'm gonna play this full game. I don't want to play these 3 missions in the closed beta and then play them again in the open beta and then play them again a week later. It just wasn't worth it. So, yeah, we'll look at that stuff.
Yeah, cool. Game seems all right.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry.
Yeah, oh God, we can finally talk about it.
Anybody?
It feels like it's been a week or so, I think, since embargo lifted.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah, close to it. Man, that is a surefire return to form for the stylish action game. It's
Is it stylish hard action or stylish crazy action?
I would say crazy
All right,
action, not
okay.
necessarily. Well, it's a little. There's some hardcoreness to it. I think it's very particular about what it wants. But
Based on the amount of time that the last time on Devil May Cry video spends on 3, I'm gonna say
dude.
crazy
Okay.
because that video was ridiculous.
That video
there's
did
some moments for
nothing.
Dude, by the time I got to about 30 seconds from the end of that video, I was like, I could have not watched this video and gotten just as much out of it.
I've never played a Devil May Cry game, so I was like, oh great, finally a way for me to understand the plot and lore of these games in a nice, concise, probably 3 to 5 minute video. Holy shit, dude! There was so many. They just start dropping names. Here's what I can tell you.
the Demon King Sparta.
Yeah,
Yep.
he was alive a really long time ago. He had 2 sons.
Yes. So now
Oh, the
Dante-
Sons of Sparta.
Yeah,
That's right.
Okay.
Dante and
Sparta
Virgil.
sons.
Dante and Virgil.
And then they fought each other a whole lot.
a whole lot.
And
Oh
then
my
Virgil
God!
became-
They won't stop.
And then Nico
Nico comes along.
Well,
we don't know much about Nico. She's
Okay.
new to the series. Here.
Right. No.
Virgil became Nero Angelo. Is that right?
Nello
Nero
Angelo.
Angela. No.
But is
Nello.
that separate from what is it?
Nello Angelo.
Nello
Nello,
Angelo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's separate from Nero.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Nero.
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Uh,
Dubstep enthusiast Nero.
Yeah, Nero came along at Ford's kind of out of the blue, and then he's somehow connected to Dante and
Trish showed up at some
Virgil.
point.
Turns out didn't need an
think-
ounce of story to really enjoy
Nah.
this game. Holy shit, it's fun.
yeah, it is a lot of fun, and it gets right into the fun right away.
Yes.
They do give you a little backstory thing. Last time on Devil May Cry, to give you a little bit of story just enough to get you in there, but for the most part, yeah, your objectives are pretty clear from the onset. Just go
Kill anything that's red and glowing.
Yeah,
or
there you
blue
go.
and glowing, or purple and
in
glowing.
a really cool way. So, all right, so we're back with Nero. I don't know if you guys remember at 4 how that game was like kind of front loaded with Nero,
Yeah.
and then the back half of the game
It was like kind of the same missions.
yeah. You
but
kind of
with
traverse
Dante,
backwards.
right?
It's
Yeah.
a little the same, although you're not going through the same areas. But the first half of the game is very Nero focused, but it's also got a little bit of the new character V. Which uses summon characters instead of like physical attacks. It's really interesting to use. But Nero's difference now, aside from his normal gun and Red Queen, his sword, is he's got these devil breaker things, these mechanical arms, which are like kind of like limited use.
Yeah.
They can explode, or if you're using them while you get attacked, they'll break and shit like that. But they add a lot of cool properties to the fight. One of them is like a devil breaker, which adds like the demon arm power from 4 directly into that. There's a ragtime one, which it stops time for a certain spell. There's others like the Mega Buster, like Mega Man's.
The time mechanics in this game are really cool. There's some really cool like boss
battles uses a lot of.
one of the early boss battles. You fighting like this knight on a horse, and it's kind of the first time I can think of. I'm sure there's other examples, but where the enemy has control over time and you as the player don't. And so what happens
get
is he
stuck
kind
in,
of
like, a
creates these
time bubble.
domes and these bubbles where you're super slowed down, and if you're in one of them, he can just kind of run up on you and start wailing on you. And I thought that was a cool way to work time manipulation into another character that you're not controlling, just from a pure mechanics point of view. It was really cool.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way. But yeah, Nero's got a ton of new powers. The V character that I mentioned, it's really interesting that you're kind of controlling the battle from afar. You're not up there in the middle of the action. You're controlling 3 different characters essentially. I mentioned Nero has like a gun, the melee weapon, and then V has a devil trigger attack, which summons this big behemoth called a nightmare.
So fun.
But also the melee attacks, he summons this cat named Shadow. The gun attacks is the gun
Griffin.
Griffin.
The
There we
bird.
go. Yeah, bird. And so you're controlling all 3 of these all at the same time, but kind of from afar. It's super.
And they all have their own inputs. Like you can charge them. You can do like back forward Y to do certain kinds of moves. Like
he's fun to control for being as hands off as he is.
That's cool.
And then his thing is like he will finish off characters. So you get them down to like a broken state, and then he runs in and like taps them with his cane. And when you're like kind of teleporting around and just like finishing off multiple guys,
It's fun, dude.
and like during the animation of you killing the people, you can still mash on Y, and your cat will still go wild doing the attacks. Like you can see it in the background. There's a lot of really cool like things happening in the background in this game.
Yeah. And as you're doing all of these attacks, if you want to build meter, you just pull the right trigger and he'll start reading from his book of poetry.
Yeah, he just walks around reading his fucking.
It's pretty rad.
Oh my god. To experience eternity within a minute. The
How many
palm of
times
the
are-
universe in your hand. It works because it has zero self-awareness. It is pure. They went all in.
They're pretty earnest on this. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's just like every cutscene is like Nero saying, "I don't know if I can trust this guy," and then it fades to black.
He's very goth.
It's they all represent a different point in the like goth triangle.
Sort
You've
of
got
edgelord.
you've got like V with the kind of hot topic.
Like he's pretty emo.
He's emo. You know, you've got like Dante with the red leather jacket and
Like he's
the,
got a cocky like
he's
swagger.
Spencer's gifts,
yeah, and then you've got Nero with his like motorcycle sword, and he's like, "I'm a bad boy," kind of. It's just a beautiful,
but also pretty whiny.
but
as
also
hell.
really, yeah.
So he's the Zoomies then.
Yes,
there we go.
yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Of the mall goth.
But Dante's back as well, and in great fashion. Like he plays very well. He's hard to explain because he's got 4 different styles that he's in. He's also got like 4 different melee weapons, and all these work in different conjunctions with one another. So if you're in like swordbringer style with a specific weapon, you can do a specific attack. But if you're in a different style with that same weapon, you don't get the same attack. It's all very confusing, but
How much of that can you
It
change on the
works.
fly, like mid combo?
go nuts with it.
Completely,
Just
yeah.
go nuts.
Awesome.
You can just wail on the triggers to like switch between stuff, and
Great.
and amazing things will come out.
Yeah.
It's
I saw
it's
some
pretty
forum chatter
wow.
from people to finish the game talking like Dante maybe has like the most different combat options
Yeah.
of any character ever in a game like this.
I think so. And the thing is, I wish I got more time to spend with him. I mentioned he's in the back half of the game, but it's shared with Nero and V as well. So there's just not enough time.
Yeah.
And they give you so many options with him. You play like a level or two, and then you're forced to play as somebody else, and you're like, damn it, I just want to play as Dante.
I
as
just
Dante.
started to get my hands on it.
Yeah, and then I come back to it, and I'm like, fuck, where was I with this? And it's just it's hard to keep a tight leash on.
It's also tough because you're between missions, you're buying upgrades that are character specific, but they don't tell you right up front that your red orbs, the currency, is shared between all 3 characters.
Oh.
So I dumped everything I could into Nero because why wouldn't
Yeah.
I?
Yeah.
And then the time V rolled around, I was like, well, I mean, this is going to be his tutorial mission, and it's kind of easy, but I just felt like coming from a character who I had unlocked like 15 additional skills for into this character, I was like, oh, this is kind of lame. And then, but sure enough, they were really generous with a lot of things in the game. I feel like they balanced the difficulty quite well. I played through the first 6 levels on human mode, which is like their equivalent
wow.
of easy,
Yeah.
which they say, play this if you've
walkthrough.
never played a Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
I could see why they would say that and not play this if you've never played a character action game before.
Right, yeah.
Which is what I didn't interpret it as,
Yeah.
even though it's clear now in hindsight.
pretty easy. Yeah.
Even on normal, it's not. I've died maybe twice. I'm about halfway through. But you can respawn with these orbs. You can use
They're
like your
extremely
normal
generous with their
currency.
continue system.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can with the red orbs, different tiers. Like you spend like 1,500, you get a certain amount of life. 3,000, you get full life, and
Yeah.
et cetera,
Or you
et
can use a
cetera.
gold orb, which are kind of your daily login bonus.
Yeah, those are easy to
things.
come by as well. You can find them in levels, they're daily logins, and you get them from being rewarded as being stylish as well. There's a weird function in the game where your play data can actually show up in another person's game and vice versa.
Yeah.
So you can from like another character's standpoint, you can see somebody off in the distance, fighting baddies. You see Nero off there. You're playing as V. That's actually somebody else's play data, essentially.
Yeah. That's
And
cool.
yeah, at the end of the
That's
level,
a-
you can rate them as stylish or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
There's
a
certain times
weird-
where you like interact with each other too, like your paths cross, and they're just like there with you, and it looks like they're there doing like fighting enemies in your game, even though they're not.
This-
It's-
The game actually starts with that same like agreement that RE2 does. When you first launch it
Oh,
for the
yeah.
first time, it's like something Capcom is doing now. Like they call it RENet
Yeah.
in RE2, but it's like, hey, do you agree to share all your play data so we can do stuff with it? But They don't come out and say what. It's cool.
But,
I just looked
yeah.
up you mentioned the Bloody Palace mode in
Yeah.
the quick look, which
Yeah,
is
that
like
should be-
traditionally the kind of like arena mode.
Yes, that's April.
That's
coming up.
that's coming out next month. Also, people have data mined apparently references to some kind of multiplayer aspect in it.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
So
okay.
like mainly because you mentioned like not having enough time to play Dante, like that seems like the place you would really kind of
Yeah.
like get to know
And
Dante.
that being said, I'm playing through my second time on like Son of Sparta, which is like the hard difficulty mode. I'm finding plenty of chances to play as Dante now. So it's not that you get to
Does it New Game Plus? Like if you play again?
No.
Okay, so you
no.
don't keep
So
your stuff.
you keep all your stuff, but you don't get to play as like any character that you want.
That's the thing.
Oh,
like,
sure.
I haven't
Okay,
played
yeah.
enough of the game to know.
But you
maybe,
keep all your skills for sure.
Okay, good.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
maybe there's reasons they wouldn't let you do this, but
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of weird that you can't just play any character in any level.
Yeah,
after you finish it.
There's
see why
story
not.
stuff in
Yeah.
there.
But you've already been through the story, once. Yeah. And I would want to play as like my favorite character in any of those scenarios, and there's really no reason why.
And they are
far as I can
selling
tell.
orbs, right?
Yeah, you can buy orbs. Man, they got huge tiers. Like you can buy like 100,000 for like $2 or something like that, which will get you a pretty substantial amount. But there's also like $20 tiers, and
Yeah,
you can.
I know
you
that
can
was
buy a
something people
shit
were
ton.
really freaking out about pre-release.
Do you, do you need them? No, you
No
don't.
way.
No, not
that
at all.
seems-
They're pretty generous with them.
I will say that the one nice thing about replaying those first 6 missions is it gave me an excuse to turn on the development cutscenes, which if you haven't seen those,
they're
do yourself
so-
a favor and go look those up, because it's just like act. I don't know if they're actors or people who work there or what, just like in these vague costumes. The best are the ones with a V, because there's always a dude next to him flapping his bird
This,
wings,
like sparkly
talking to
black
him.
like
And
shawl.
they're just like
yeah.
bad CG. Will like occasionally they'll have like like those 2D explosions. You can do on
Yeah.
like an app. Oh god, it's so good.
Like they went to the trouble of comping in like the gunshot
Yeah.
muzzle flares and
Yeah.
like blood flying everywhere
Yeah.
when people get stabbed and stuff.
Great.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It's so fun.
Yeah, I mean it's all like like previs, that they would use for reference, like when they're actually doing the cutscenes,
Yeah.
but they just
they're so
keep this
good.
stuff anyway.
So it's stuff like that is why, like when you said like that they're not self-aware
yeah.
about it. Like
I think they're
at
pretty
least a
self-aware.
little-
They're at the top. I think they're self-aware, but like they don't show an ounce of that in the
Yeah.
game. They like keep
Yeah.
the game as this
They're
purely
earnest,
like.
yeah.
perfect. Like
Like,
you
keep it on
need
the
to do
nose.
that.
I was playing and my partner was in the room cleaning, and just the very first thing is just this awful screamo,
Yeah.
like just terrible, really bad screamo. And sorry, Jan.
Hey, I was about to say the last Devil May Cry game I played was 3, and I really liked the weird screamo song in that.
Okay,
But maybe it's because it was a formative time in my life.
probably, but I was like, Mira was like, this screamo doesn't fit, and I was well, think about it if you're. I think Mira said that the screamo doesn't fit because I can understand all the lyrics. In a good screamo, you don't want to understand that. And I was like,
yeah.
well, think about that. This is for a Japanese audience, and it's an American screamo
Yeah.
song. So for them, it's going to be that experience of like if it was a Japanese screamo song for us, where you're like, I don't know what they're saying, but it sucks, and I
Yeah.
love it.
Like I maybe can make out an occasional word here
Yeah.
and there. Yeah.
Overall, I'm in love with this game. It's
really fun.
it's the return to form that I really wanted. It's not over the top as like say the DMC game was, and I don't know if
That's over the top in a different way.
Yeah,
It feels
in a
like it kind of
different
splits
way.
the difference almost.
Yeah.
Like you see a little
that's a
bit
good
of
way
that
putting
stuff.
it.
You
Yeah.
know.
it's not quite there, but and I really enjoyed the DMC offshoot.
Mhm.
One of the things I like in that game that I haven't seen much of in this game is there's some like weird abstract level design.
Yeah,
Like in that, like in the kind of the fake Fox News boss fight and stuff.
Mhm.
Like this, from what I've seen, is a lot of either like you're inside a demon or you're in a city.
Yep.
Like it's just a lot of kind of generic looking
The
environments
city is the demon,
for the
man.
most part.
yeah,
But,
that's something that I would take it for as
Yeah.
well, is lack of diversity and
Yeah.
some of the environments.
yeah.
Level design, and then just not being able to play as Dante more is it's kind of a huge bummer for as fleshed out as he is. Like one of his goddamn weapons is a motorcycle that gets chopped in
true.
half, and he uses like them each like these huge razor blades. They're
It's
amazing.
like you hear the motorcycle
yeah.
revving every
You
time
can
he
rev
swings
the
it.
motorcycle.
That's
Pretty
pretty
fantastic.
That's pretty dumb.
Oh, and I get to use them just a handful of times. That's
Hopefully that DLC mode will give you a lot of like
Yeah.
good hearty challenges to
hopefully
apply
too.
him to.
Yeah, so that's April. It's also going to be free
Yeah.
as well. That's cool.
I can't remember what the last like big character action game even was. It just feels
Nier.
like that.
Bayonetta.
Yeah,
Nier.
okay, I guess so. But like
Yeah.
Nier's got so many other elements to it though.
Yeah. But yeah, Bayonetta 2
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
That was years ago at this point.
Yeah.
I suppose it was.
3 is probably. I assume we'll finally start seeing some Bayonetta 3 stuff this year.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be some E3 stuff, right?
Yeah.
They got to start. They
Maybe.
got to start showing it.
But yeah, this is a badass Devil May Cry for sure. As far as like the overarching storyline, it doesn't do a ton to really push things forward, but it has some really good moments, really good moments, really good character interactions.
That credit scene that plays, I think, at the end of chapter 1, where he's like, it's all slow mo, and he's going around.
Sure,
That's one of the coolest like
Very
credit
slickly
scenes I've seen in a game.
And hey, how about Capcom?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're doing
Yeah.
pretty well
The
with
RE
everything
engine, man.
that's
Yeah.
not
Like-
a fighting game.
Yeah, anything that's not a fighting game, they're
Yep.
fucking killing it.
Yep.
It's crazy to think that. They're probably planning a lot of this stuff before the success of Monster Hunter, but it's interesting to see now that because of the success of Monster Hunter and the degree at which it made money, we are getting like, those resources come into play. Like, who knows if Devil May Cry would have been this polished, or
Maybe.
And I'm sure the success of
I feel like we're
Resident
starting-
Evil 7 gave them a really good jumping off point for
That's like a
lot
proof of concept
these.
for this engine.
And also just like them revisiting their classic franchises
Yeah.
and doing right by them, whether it's a remake or a new game. Like Resident Evil 2, by all accounts, is a tremendous. Like it's nothing I'm ever going to be into. But
so much better than it had
game.
any right to be.
Yeah.
Like it's the kind of thing you just expected.
And they made a good new Resident Evil not that long ago that pivoted in an entirely different direction. Or not entirely different, but you know what I mean. And having Devil May Cry, hey, here's a new Devil May Cry that is both true to form and going in some really cool directions and trying some new shit. Like
slightly.
Yeah.
I think it's a safe bet. Like it's not extremely.
I mostly mean like
hey,
we're going to integrate play data from other just like little flourishes and stuff like that you maybe wouldn't have seen.
Well, it's modernized
a year ago.
Like that's the thing that RE2 is so good at is like it's like the rare remake that captures the spirit of the original, but also builds on all that stuff and modernizes it in the right ways.
It's also nice that this game reminds me of God of War last year, where it is unapologetically not a service game. It's nice to have this like $60 game.
I don't know, man. They're selling fucking orbs.
Yeah, but like they're sold
trying
things,
to find a way into it.
Literally every video game has that.
Yeah.
Now, like God of War had that. You could buy it. Or no, I think that maybe that was the one that didn't have literally anything you could buy. But I mean, I take it like I'm not fine with it, but every video game is going to have something you can buy now. But it's nice to have a video game that isn't going to be like, okay, well, you need to play this again. Like, it has a daily login bonus, but that's just like icing on the cake. I don't need any of those gold orbs anymore.
Right.
But this is like, I'm going to play through the game, and I'm going to be done with it. And I might play through it again. Maybe I won't. Who knows? But that's up to me. It's not designed as a
Sounds like they're
machine.
leaving money on the table. Sounds like a bad business opportunity. All right, 4 Dantes get together.
Okay.
Random loot drops.
Okay.
Maybe that motorcycle drops. Maybe you buy a cosmetic motorcycle.
Get a gold motorcycle.
A gold motorcycle.
Plus
2 to all orb drops.
Wow.
Tell me about the ping system.
All right, you're gonna hit right bumper, and you're gonna be able to have Dante is gonna go over there and be like, "There's something over there." He'll say.
It's classic Dante
Yeah,
line.
he doesn't get specific about it because he's too cool for that.
They only had him in the studio for so long.
Right.
Do we share a combo meter?
No.
Oh, damn.
But if you pay for a synergy bonus, if you
Oh.
all are using your credit booster, then you will synergize and then you will share.
You did sign up for AreNet, right?
Yeah, that's when we get the 4th S, right? On top of the 3 S's.
If you want that 4th S, which is a pretty.
Shit, there is a 4th
That
S.
is the cool S.
There is a 4th S?
There's a 4th S?
I think there's a 4th S.
Oh, man.
I think there's a 4th S.
Got my first triple S on accident.
I think one of the on accident.
Yep.
bonus.
It's great.
They're kind of easy to get once you know what to do.
Yeah. I summoned Nightmare, and then he came out of a building. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then it was
his
great.
entrances are so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an achievement.
He's not
for
very
one of
useful
them.
sometimes, though. But
Oh, well.
That's where you go ride him and tell him what to do.
I haven't bought that yet, but it's just hilarious seeing him
You
pop
can do a
up.
spinning lariat with Nightmare.
It's great. It's great.
His
the-
teleport's called Illegal Move.
What's the next big Capcom franchise to come back? Successful.
Beautiful
Darkstalkers.
Oh God.
Beautiful Joe.
Section Z.
Wasp.
Yeah,
Planet.
Trojan.
Okay.
A modern Trojan.
Okay. Dude, Trojan's pretty good.
Yeah, I want Speed Rumbler. I've always wanted them to do like a like Mad Max, but like that Mad Max game. But what if it was good, and what if it was Speed Rumbler?
Sure.
Because Speed Rumbler is just kind of Mad Max.
Yeah.
Was Samba de Amigo Capcom?
No, it's Sega.
No,
Sega. Yeah. Okay. Damn.
Yeah.
Beautiful Joe would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet
Sure.
they never touch it again
Yeah,
because
I
that's
bet
like
not.
platinum.
Yeah.
Like there's
Oh.
kind of
Yeah.
there's like who would champion Beautiful Joe?
That's a very Kamiya
Me.
game, isn't it?
I mean, who works at Capcom?
Not me.
Yeah.
Tatsunoko versus Capcom 2.
Yeah, good for them though.
I mean, odds of that
like,
happening
better than Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, right? That's
Get a giant golden lighter guy again.
Yeah.
Oh man,
good for Capcom making good video games again.
Yeah.
They needed to. They had
Yeah.
kind of been boning it up for a while to the point where we were like, man, someone's gonna buy Capcom.
What's
Yeah.
going on
Yep.
over there?
Yeah.
It was looking that way for a while.
Is Onimusha Capcom?
Yeah.
I'd like that. That'd be cool.
They put out
Get
the
Jean Reno
HD
back in. Yeah,
remake.
they put out that remake of Onimusha a few months ago.
Was
Yeah.
that just like an HD?
Yeah, it was,
remaster?
yeah,
It's
just
okay.
more of a remaster. than a
up-res
remake,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a remaster. Not a
Good for
remake.
them though, riding the ship. All right, those are big games this week. Let's take a quick break and talk about some more. All right, let's roll into the news, shall we? I have got 9 different browser tabs open here.
Wow.
That's a lot of news. So get
It's a
ready.
lot of memory.
That's
being
right.
Eaten up by your
that's
browser.
True. That's true. I guess E3's transition, or if you prefer,
Death knell.
continued decline into irrelevance, is continuing.
Mm-hmm.
As EA has now come out and announced that they will not be holding a press conference at E3 this year.
Yeah. So I mean, well, which is weird because that's technically not part of E3.
Yes, but they was still timed around it.
Yeah.
It was still the
Yes. Yeah.
They've been doing it on Saturdays
Mm-hmm.
before the so 3-4 days before E3 proper starts. But
Yeah.
it's in LA.
It's an E3 related thing.
It's the
You're
weekend.
right.
Like they're not technically affiliated with the ESA for this stuff, but
Mhm.
it is considered part of the E3
festivities.
procession of events.
Yeah.
They're still doing EA Play. They're still doing I think it is even still out in Hollywood at the same area generally. Yes,
Mhm.
it's still at the Hollywood Palladium.
Just not the same time.
Still doing, so it starts Friday night now.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Still doing the, kind of open to, I don't know if it's fully open to the public or if, I think you have to sign up somehow.
You would usually have to sign up to get tickets. It
But-
wasn't
but-
just like show up.
Yeah, but I think anybody can sign up and get tickets.
Totally,
It's
yeah.
not like an industry event or
no,
anything.
no.
So still having people come out and play the games. They will be live streaming off and on throughout the event, they say. But here's the relevant part of this announcement they put out. It all starts this year on Friday night, June 7th, with an all-new EA Play kickoff event. We are skipping the press conference this year and are replacing it with multiple live streams that will air during the first 2 days of the event, bringing you more of what you've told us you want, more gameplay and insights from the teams making the games.
Yes, gamers are clamoring for more insights.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Analytics. Slap some graphs
what
up
about
there.
the insights?
Tell me about your KPIs.
I mean, you joke, but E3 press conferences used to have a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, there was a whole lot.
A lot of sales charts. No Andrew Wilson up on a stage emceeing an event, which maybe after the year they've had.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's yeah, I get it. You think about
Keep a low profile.
yeah, and also we're if we are really in that transitional period of the generation of consoles and all the other stuff, like they're not gonna have some big new thing to announce.
Yeah. Let me double check. Didn't they announce that the Respawn Star Wars game will already have been revealed by then?
You might be right.
Am I out of my mind? I'd swear they said they were going to
When is the Star Wars celebration?
Yes, it is. Yes, they are revealing that at Star Wars
Yeah.
Celebration, and that's like May, I think.
Okay.
May the 4th.
Oh,
Probably.
Oh God, you're probably
Sure. I mean,
right.
if you had to pick a day, that is a day in May.
Oh, it's actually in April.
Damn it. April the 20th.
April the 20th be with you.
Anyway, they might have other games to announce, but that's probably the biggest one we know of so far, and that will already be out there by the time we get to E3.
And, their last couple of press conferences, I feel like, have not been great. In terms of, like, they've swung back and forth in terms of how they've presented it, where they had that one year where they showed that Criterion thing that, is long gone.
Yeah.
The stuff they showed of, like, what eventually became Anthem over the last couple of years.
The Battlefront 2 one that was
Yeah.
just like, here's a bunch of people playing
God,
Battlefront
they showed
2
way
for
too much
45
Battlefront for way
minutes.
too long.
Yeah. So I think they just haven't really had a great press conference in a very long time.
Yeah.
They probably are they're in a weird spot. The Anthem has not been super well received, so they can't get out there and beat their chest about that.
Anthem was rough. It sounds like Battlefield didn't do the numbers they were looking for.
Yeah, like they just had that rush mode, and they got the tutorial for their battle royale mode, I guess, leaked out.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Like,
Still,
I'm trying
they've got to be feeling pretty good about themselves if they're looking to expand what is essentially a press conference into multiple streams with multiple games.
It's
But that's
possible, but
also,
you could also-
like that'll be like there'll be an Apex stream.
Right,
There'll
right.
be
There'll be a Sims
FIFA
stream, probably.
There'll be an
You know,
Anthem
like some of
stream.
those
Yeah.
will be centered around, like it'll be deeper dives in existing franchises probably. So like here's your FIFA update,
Right.
and here's that sort of stuff. So if anything, if you're trying to report news out of EA at this thing, it's suddenly now it's a 2-day thing, and you probably have to go to LA a day earlier.
Right.
Just fucking worse. Yeah. So I think it makes sense for them to stretch it out because honestly, if you look at the fans of their games, how many people, whatever, they're selling a subscription based on the concept of people being fans of EA games.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like those games appeal to such different people in terms of like the FIFA player probably isn't always the Madden player, which isn't always the Anthem player, which isn't always the Dragon Age fan.
Right.
Like
the Sims is a totally separate audience.
So if they're
Well, maybe
trying,
not totally separate, but,
they're
different,
but yeah,
different
cuts.
buckets.
It's easier, it's easier to micro-target
Totally.
people with dense information that they want rather than try and make your best guess for what the most people are going to want to hear.
Yeah. So if anything, like I think that makes sense, and it's smart for them to do, especially if they're not going to have some big splashy new announcement that they want to put in front of specifically the press.
It's also because it's nice. It lets like their Apex thing shine. Whereas if that was like if it was 15 minutes about Apex bookended by Apex and Battlefield, it's going to be shitty internet people just like making jokes about. It's going to be a lot easier for them to kind of run the narrative on things and focus people. Like
like you're not going to tune into that stream if you don't care about FIFA.
Exactly.
Which is fine because as someone who has watched all of their press conferences, I don't want to watch the segment about FIFA
you don't want
either.
to watch Pele come out again?
No, I do not.
Oh, he's so nice.
Maybe maybe that's the one thing I missed. So yeah, like this, if they did a press conference, the Apex segment would be something you could boil down to one sentence. Here's the new information about Apex, and the rest of it would be like, man, a lot of people are playing this fucking game.
We love all of our Apex players, and
who out here loves Apex?
Hey guys, Mozambique over here.
What? So sure, like totally. The only thing I will miss is, and maybe they will still stream this, is some kind of awful celebrities playing Apex Legends.
Yep.
Like some cluster of people that are like
marginally
to proper famous somewhere on that scale.
Even last year, the Fortnite 100 celebrities versus pros tournament already eclipsed that. So
You're right. Yeah, I guess it's been done. Yeah.
Is Backpack Kid going to be back?
No.
God, that's not
Backpack
even
Kick will not be allowed.
not even the only news story to mention Backpack Kid today. Like what stage shows are left? Microsoft, presumably Bethesda,
Yeah.
presumably Ubisoft.
Yeah.
A direct, that doesn't count.
No, I mean
Right,
stage shows,
yeah,
like
Yeah.
renting a space and having somebody go up on a.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Like those three.
If they're hurting, we should get up there.
You totally. Yeah. We're gonna get up there. We got some announcements to make.
Devolver.
Yeah, Devolver will have their thing.
Sure.
But they still don't do like a space, or that thing's like
I think it's
pre-taped.
pre-recorded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pre-recorded.
Also, that's like a Renegade. I mean, like
Yeah.
the ESA gives out
Well,
like
it's
real.
it's suddenly no longer a
Well, I
renegade
know,
thing
yeah.
by virtue of like what are they even making fun of anymore?
Yeah.
Because the thing they're making fun of rapidly is not existing anymore.
Yeah. Well, what I mean is like that's
They
not a
killed
slot.
Yeah.
That's
They
not one of the
killed it,
slots
yeah.
assigned
They
out.
killed it.
That's not one of the slots assigned out by
They
the ESA.
check-a-looked their way into into the top tier, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Google. Maybe.
Sure. Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
have,
They've announced their GDC stuff.
yeah.
I saw that. What is it? 10 o'clock next Tuesday.
Yeah, that'll be the hour before this podcast starts. They'll be
Next
talking
week.
about whatever the fuck they have to talk about.
Yeah.
Which presumably is streaming and hopefully backpedaling on that fan render of that controller.
I didn't think that thing looked terrible.
It's the bend in it, the hard
Yeah.
angle
Yeah.
in it that makes
Yeah.
it not a thing you want to hold in your hand.
Maybe not the most ergonomic, but also
No.
it's fake, so who cares? Like,
Right.
it's-
Well, it's fake based on a patent.
yeah.
Which I feel like a lot of patent art is generally designed in a way that obfuscates the
Yes.
real thing they're making,
Yeah.
and is focused around the functionality that they're trying to patent, and not the look of it.
Yeah.
So I doubt they would have a controller that bad, because I looked at that thing and it was like, oh, cool. The Ouya needed a new controller.
Yeah.
I like the color scheme on that fake.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah,
Super Famicom-esque.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Google will have a big presence at E3. Who can say?
Yeah.
There will be room for it.
Right.
Now.
Yes, with Sony not going, like there's suddenly a lot of booth space up for grabs.
Yeah.
And who's expanding where and all
And
the
just
floor
airtime.
plan stuff. And yeah, airtime.
And mind share.
Ooh, mind share.
My
Yes.
favorite share.
You guys think Epic could ever get up there?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know what. I don't feel like they have
Maybe not this year, but
Yeah.
you know, they have a publishing business.
Yeah, their publishing would have to get a lot
Yeah.
more robust, I think, before they justified that.
I think they might be looking to. Make
Oh, I know
moves,
I know that they seems like they are heading in that direction.
Yeah.
But like as of right now,
I'm just trying to think of like who out there could like next year feasibly show up.
Like who would do a press conference? Who
Yeah.
would be Konami? They're fucking
Capcom.
Like you could almost see Capcom if they get maybe one more hit under their belt or something.
If things hadn't gone this way over the last year, I would have said Activision.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could
sure.
absolutely run their own show, but not anymore.
It also depends. I feel like next if we do see new console stuff, then next year becomes suddenly more exciting. Like okay, it's your first rollout of new console games and
but that might be this year.
Yeah,
Maybe.
well,
We-
yeah,
we
you'll
might-
like
we-
the
we will
first party
presumably-
stuff, and
Presumably,
some
Microsoft
partner
will have
stuff.
something to show beyond like, here's our plan for consoles.
Yeah.
You would think they would at least show like, oh, by the way, Halo is
Here's Halo
on the next thing.
Infinite,
Yeah.
Now it runs at 4K. And you're like, okay.
which by the way, they still owe us money for stealing Infinite. That's our that's our thing.
That's our thing. We invented the word.
Well, we didn't
Capcom also because we had to sublicense it from Capcom,
right.
and now
Man, I hope they show that Halo. I want to see something new.
I want to see that
Halo.
Halo.
That's right.
Would love to see
Yo, you got that Halo?
Yeah.
You guys want to play some Halo?
I love HD
You
video
want to have
games.
a LAN party?
I love.
Everybody bring your Xbox over.
Let's tunnel that shit.
Can I use the
so I can
sword?
stay home.
I got dibs on the sword.
No.
What day of the week is it?
I mean, if they hadn't come out and said this is very different for Halo, I would not
Right.
care.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
I want to see what a new take
I want to see
on
what a
the
new
Halo
take on
Yeah,
Halo
a
is.
modern
Absolutely.
Halo.
could be.
They're long overdue
Yeah.
to
Finish the fight.
Yeah, it's time.
Finish this fight.
I got bad news for you.
Yeah.
Halo Infinite.
Fuck!
You were never gonna finish that fight.
Halo Infinite, keep fighting, bitches.
Yeah. But it's the keep fighting, bitch, Slayer, bitches. Like it's
What if it's a loot game?
What if it's a loot game?
What if
What if it's a loot game?
What if they made one of those?
What if it's one of those?
I would be into that.
Yeah.
I could get into that.
Yeah.
Fucking different colored visor for my
Sure.
Spartan.
Yeah.
I mean, they
Sure.
did cosmetics on the armor like for the past few games, but only in multiplayer.
Yeah.
Don't make Halo a loot game.
This
please.
DMR has
We
got,
have enough loot games.
This DMR's got a 10% bonus to headshots.
What if you had a 10% bonus to headshots on that DMO?
Yeah. What if on the assault rifle, that little readout with the ammo, what if that number was higher?
What if that number was a
Holy
different
shit.
color?
Wow.
What if that was a cosmetic slot? What if you got an orange
Okay.
ammo counter? Right?
Okay.
Orange.
I like this vision of Halo. E3. It's like 3 months away. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's the analysis I have
We're not going after the EA
on the
thing, are we?
situation.
No.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
unless there's unless we get information from them that is sounds fantastic, where it's like someone, but even then we would not all go. It's like you're like, okay, one of us is going down to LA a day early
Okay.
to look at the EA stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that would basically just be to play the games they have there.
Yeah.
Participate in the celebrity tournaments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Man, you really think Zac Effron is just like a medium celebrity?
What's he doing?
Yeah, I mean, like
He was in The
he's five
Greatest
years
Showman.
ago.
He's Ted Bundy.
Oh, that's true.
Oh,
He's
right.
Bundy now.
He also wasn't he just in something some
Dirty
other
Grandpa.
besides that.
Don't besmirch Zac Efron's name.
What, he's in? Is he not the Dirty Grandpa's grandson?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he's Dirty Grandpa's grandson.
First headline that comes up when I Google Zac Efron. Zac Efron's new haircut was literally inspired by a panini.
Awesome.
Second headline, Zac Efron's dating history, a timeline of his famous exes.
I don't know. Okay, maybe this is just me. I don't think I've seen anything Zac Efron has ever done other than getting high at that EA thing.
Same.
I honestly,
he's a child star who was grown up.
High School
right?
Musical
Okay.
was like his
Troy
break.
Yeah.
Bolton. Get your head. What team? No,
You're younger than
I'm like
I
a
don't-
year younger than you.
what? That was like the pivotal year because it was,
Wildcats. Oh God, sorry.
Wow.
was that a Disney Channel original
Yes, it's
movie?
a Disney Channel
I missed
original
that
movie.
one.
God damn it. What did you
Get-
watch?
get
Camp
back to-
Rock?
Maybe
you're right.
Get back to me when you're talking about Brink.
Oh, God, okay. There's no music in that.
Looking over his body of work, maybe you're right. Maybe he did belong at that tournament.
Oh, whatever.
If Snoop Dogg,
Doggy Dog was at that tournament.
You're almost
But
putting them
also-
both on the same.
Snoop kind of just
but
show up.
The other,
though.
that's the other thing I would say is it's like if you've got a dollar amount that is in Snoop's range, he is there.
That's true.
and it's like, Snoop, do you want to get high, play video games, and get paid for it?
I was going to do 2 of those 3 things anyway.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg get paid. I
Those
want him,
four
I want him
words
to get out
are
there
the
and do-
truest words in the English
Yes.
language if combined.
I want Snoop Dogg to get paid to be Snoop Dogg.
He did not become a business magnate the way that Dr. Dre did. So
No, he found
he's
a
gotta-
different way.
Yes, he's got to. He's got
the
to.
Snoop de Grill,
he's
the
got to-
Snoop DeVille.
He's got to do what he's got to do.
Plenty of ashtrays.
He's friends with Martha Stewart. That's cool.
Who isn't?
Martha Stewart's a criminal.
Yeah.
She's been locked
Yeah.
up.
That's right. She
She's
paid.
done
She
time.
paid her debt to society.
Murder was the case that they gave her.
They probably
Uh,
split a dime bag.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I will just move this story up to now because we're already talking about EA and Apex. There's a bunch of data mined leaks going around about the Apex Season 1 Battle Pass, which
Oh.
may or may not be accurate, but also apparently the Origin front page put up a thing about it.
Yeah,
okay.
There was a moment where if you and this is all on the internet, so again, this isn't necessarily official, and who knows, maybe someone photoshopped.
Yeah, unless this is a faked screenshot of the Origin storefront.
But it's a picture saying like, "Hey, Season 1 Battle Pass, 950 Apex coins, and it comes with Octane."
Oh,
And
shit.
So that had, I believe, that had been data mined separately. Was that one character was included with the Battle Pass?
yeah, and that's about $10.
Yeah. That's a good. That's the right price to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will happily throw $10 at that game every 3 months.
Gladly. Especially if it comes with the characters.
Totally. Like that in itself is like there you go.
What any other details there?
No, it's all marketing copy. It's like
No date, no
welcome to the Wild Frontier is the headline. Survive the arena, meet the Apex game's latest legend Octane, wield new weapons, and score unique loot. The Season 01 Battle Pass is here. Purchase it for 950 Apex coins.
I really hope
Sounds
they
pretty
get
legit.
some nicer looking skins in that game.
Yeah.
There's just so many, like all the common and uncommon skins in that game
For the guns?
for
Or just
Everything.
everything?
everything.
It's just a color scheme, you know. It's, just
it's
like a.
A lot of the
And I
skins
think
are
that's-
super formulaic.
But like,
like-
not even the,
I feel like the high end skins are not like they're
Yeah,
skin games.
yeah.
they're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like their highest and most complex ones are like what rare Overwatch skins are like. You know, like
But like, did Overwatch launch that way?
Yeah, Overwatch
or did they
had a lot
or
of
did they
time
like
to
get
build up,
into like
they
okay,
had some
now our high end
fairly
skins
wacky
are
skins
totally
right out the
crazy.
gate.
Yeah.
Like had like a
Yeah.
Green Ranger for Genji and stuff. Like and Overwatch has a couple of those. Like I like I mean, but like the craziest they get is Wraith is bald.
Whoa.
I want them to like go full on like weird costumes and stuff.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
I
would
could
love to
see
see that.
giving the player base time to just get used to the way they look.
Yeah.
And like kind of get the visual ID down pat
Yeah.
before you start fucking
before you
with it.
start getting super
I-
crazy.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I
Yeah,
think I think the skins.
I think
need
even the like
to-
color scheme ones are
They should
just-
eventually.
There's so many and so many of them are not good. It's just like random colors
Yeah.
that they associated with.
Also, I've never gotten a legendary character skin, and they're like $20 a piece in the store. So
I got one for Gibraltar.
Yeah,
and that was it.
I got one, maybe even two. Yeah, I will buy that battle pass. Absolutely.
yeah, totally.
That's
Game's good.
that game is better than good.
They had a nice little their first kind of like tweak
The big
to
nerf.
character
Yeah.
hitbox size and like stuff like shooting between Pathfinder's legs.
Did that go out?
Yeah.
The hitbox stuff? Oh, I thought
Yeah.
they were still working
A
on
lot
that.
of it was, well, I think it was two parts. There was the server side stuff they could change.
Oh, yeah.
And
So,
I think there's like another part of it that maybe hasn't hit yet.
Well,
but
they
I'm not
nerfed
sure.
the nerfed the wingman and the
Right.
peacekeeper.
And they
Yeah.
added a couple more survey beacons. What's
Yeah.
up? From 10 to 12, baby.
That's right. Those changes seem smart. They seem like they were like reasonably well received by the community. They've also been out there saying like, "Hey, we've banned like hundreds of thousands of players, but you're starting to see more and more like spectator cam footage of people running faster than they should be able to run."
I got in my first game where there was a string of numbers and letters. I forget was the username, and they just were like repeating that string of like numbers and letters over and over in chat.
weird.
And I looked it up, and it's like a Chinese website that you can buy cheats on, or
wow.
like hacks on, basically. And I guess they just like jump into games, pump that link in there, and then leave before the drop. For people who are curious and don't know how to Google,
Weird.
how do I get Apex
How do
hacks?
I get hot cheats? They've said that they've got some things up their sleeve for how they're banning cheaters, and they didn't get into too much detail, citing like, "Hey, we don't want to tip our hand on what the fuck we're doing to stop these dicks."
Thing I have found amusing is that every post from like community people on their team I have read on places like Reddit about nerfs and changes and whatever reads like they have very closely studied every like PR snafu and brouhaha for every other live service game that's ever taken place. Like they all feel so meticulously worded to answer every question that somebody could conceivably have and like stress their openness and
very
transparency.
smart like
in a smart
think
way.
they,
I don't mean
yeah.
like it's like
It doesn't feel like they're
devious.
hiding
It's not
anything.
cold
yeah.
and calculated.
yeah, like it's done very smartly.
It feels human at
Yes.
the same time.
Yes, but it
They're-
also,
they're
like,
doing a good job.
There is a large amount of attention paid to communicating and over communicating.
Yeah.
I liked what they said about, like, oh yeah, we know that Mozambique is bad. We're not gonna, like, this game has power curves. Like, there needs to be some weapons that are weaker than others.
like that's an example. Is just like they're very honest about their feelings about weapon balance and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's nice. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm over here still playing auto chess, and the update we get reads bug fix, and they've nerfed and buffed literally every character in the game.
Well, that's one way to go. There's also the Anthem method of like, oh shit, here are the patch notes we forgot to include, and it's like a bunch of stuff that we've written bug next to.
So what happened with the loot changes that people liked were an accident?
Yeah.
Yep, they accidentally made people like the game, and then they reverted it. This is what my understanding. I haven't played the game. This is based off secondhand information, but
Okay.
yeah,
I don't know. They also made some server side changes to like fix some. People started running math on a lot of stuff. The thing, I don't know if this was last week. I don't know if this that was out there in terms of last week's show.
Level 1
But
rifle.
the level 1 rifle being like somehow more effective than the end game rifles.
I skipped it because they came out pretty quickly and said, yeah, that's a bug with default loadouts. That's
Yeah,
not
okay.
intentional behavior.
Yeah, and it sounds like that. Yes, they removed the patch note read. We have removed common and uncommon loot from the loot table for level 30 players, but it wasn't like that loot was getting replaced with better loot. It's that you were just getting less.
Huh.
And it's just a lot. It's a lot of changes that, for a game that is not competitive in nature, feels like they are being overly precious about things that, like, they should just kind of open the floodgates on a little bit. I'm not saying give in to every single whim of the community, because that's not a way to balance your game either.
Yeah.
But the way they are going about it is pretty much the exact opposite of that Apex stuff. Of like, here are a bunch of things where when it sounds human, it's a human going, oh shit, we're still looking into this one. And
to me, it just feels so crafted as, like, literally, it feels like, how can we change this so that we don't lose, like, so ultimately, how can we change this so we don't lose money? And that is like, how do we change this so that players are spending more time doing these actions in the game? But it all comes back to, like, in Apex, it feels like, how do we make these changes so that people have fun and continue playing our game? This feels really cold and businessy and like, well, you can change these two things, but don't change this thing because this thing leads to this and this makes us more money.
I think the thing with the Anthem patch updates is that it feels like there's a grand plan to the game that they have that they have not communicated. that they're like, and maybe it is because it is business in nature in terms of like that sort of stuff, where like a lot of the patch notes in that read like they're trying to protect some kind of sacred cow of like, hey, here's where the money goes, or here's where we want to go with the loot in a way that we can't tell you yet. So instead, you just look at these patch notes, and it feels like you're reading half the story, and you go like, why would anyone do this?
Right.
And,
Yeah,
but
it feels
then,
like something is missing. That's a good way to.
And then like half of the answers end up being like, we're still looking into it, or that's a bug, and that's the stuff that's pretty bizarre, is the number of things that they've changed and had. It's like a Fallout 76 level of like, oh fuck, on some of those things. Maybe that's exaggerating a touch, but maybe it's not. Nothing's quite Fallout 76 bad.
But it has that same tinge of, I paid $60 for this video game, or $100
I don't know,
for
man.
this video game.
Some of those crash bugs felt like they surpassed the Fallout situation.
Okay,
I feel like they had higher
yeah,
highs,
yeah.
but on average, maybe not as.
The thing I will say is that they did make it so you can hold down triangle from anywhere in the fort to start a mission, even if you're not in a party.
Yes, that's a smart change.
Acknowledging that, hey, walking around the fort is a bad time.
Yep.
So
Also,
it feels like a game where they're making whatever quick changes they can make, and some of those changes end up going awry. And that's why they've got bugs to their patch notes and bugs to their bugs and all that sort of stuff. Like it feels like they're fighting a losing battle. And so don't have a press conference at E3. Is the short version of that. And you start to wonder about things like Dragon Age.
I saw, I don't know if it was one of the voice actors from Anthem or maybe somebody from BioWare. Somebody posted a photo on Twitter last week from a motion capture stage of actors from that game.
Okay.
Like doing current production work. So presumably the stuff they're putting out, the ongoing narrative content will have actual, like we wondered when we saw like, hey, they're putting out a bunch of free story content this year, if it was just going to be a bunch of text-only NPCs just standing still, giving you missions, and you go out and just do generic missions.
But it sounds like that they're
doing
new stuff.
They're doing real cutscenes. They're getting the actors back in the studio to do story stuff. So it seems like that's getting full production. So that's cool for what it's worth.
Yeah, that stuff was pretty cool to begin with. It's just a shame that it didn't really tie into gameplay much.
Yeah, we'll see where that game is in 6 months.
Right.
Nintendo's getting into VR.
Oh, gosh.
In the most Nintendo way possible.
Their headset is made out of cardboard.
Hey, worked for Google.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, did it?
Except for
Worked for Google.
Except for the parts that have lenses in them, which appear to be made out of plastic. So way to compromise your own principles.
Well, no, the other Labo kits came with like pulleys and all kinds of weird shit. This was something that got hacked out of the firmware a long time ago. There was a weird like, hey, how come I can toggle on this mode that makes the screen show twice at a different resolution that seems to be like a VR type
stereoscopic
vision mode.
The product is called Nintendo Labo Toy-Con 04 VR Kit. So it's a Labo. Part of Labo.
I was wondering if we were going to see more Labo.
I'm pretty sure like a couple weeks ago, we all unanimously were like, there is 0% chance they do more Labo.
Well, when did the
here we are.
The vehicle kit?
Yeah, the vehicle kit was
late last year, I think.
Yeah, so there's been that one update since it came out.
Yeah,
but,
a third kit.
I mean, here we are like almost a year since the first products came out. So.
They've got a huge roadmap from here on out, like probably 8 more products.
Are you talking about all these different VR?
It's like the elephant. There's the
those are all part
valve.
of this.
Those are all.
That's all part of
this?
the VR kit.
Oh, I
yes,
thought they were all.
They're selling it in 2 configurations. You can get the starter set, which is just the goggles and the blaster game. But then there's also the big.
How do I get the wind valve?
So VR kit. VR kit is the one that comes with everything.
Okay.
Starter set comes with just the goggles and blaster, and then the expansion sets 1 and 2 will get you all the other stuff.
So what do we got?
We got a camera.
You got an elephant.
Camera, elephant, blaster, bird, and wind pedal.
Wind pedal.
What's a wind pedal?
I don't know.
I don't know. It seems amazing.
They have not gone into a lot of detail.
Is that pedal with a D?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So
it's like a
pedal
thing
for
that
you to hit.
step, like a pedal, like you step on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it controls wind.
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't have like a trailer ready to go for this.
I want to see what the wind pedal.
Well, how do you do VR trailers?
But even like footage of people using it.
Okay,
So you get some idea of what you're doing.
Yeah.
When is this coming out soon?
You just step on the
Or
wind
is
pedal.
this something we might see at the direct?
April 12th. So a month
yeah.
from now.
Oh, that's very soon.
That is.
Okay.
You put the elephant on your face.
You look
That's
up
what
that
you do.
bird's butt.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like most of these are contraptions that the goggles themselves bolt into. So you're holding everything. You're holding the goggles and thing to your face.
Oh.
Like the pedal is the only thing that looks like it is separate from the goggles, from what I can tell.
Because it's on your foot.
I feel like there would probably be a little bit more excitement around this announcement if it was not attached to the Labo brand. If they would have been like, "Hey, we've got a VR thing coming out that's like and here's a plastic version of it, and here's the cardboard version of it for Labo fun." Like if they had been able to kind of separate it, because like the Labo stuff kind of came and went, and it was cool.
Obviously good enough for them to keep going.
Well, I wonder if this was the plan all along.
Yeah, but I feel like they could have, if like it was a disaster, they could have pulled the
and then maybe done VR a different way or something.
Yeah.
Like, okay, here's a plastic thing that you
But
put it into.
You're right in that like the Labo isn't a word you can just like inspire a lot of like the new Labo thing. It's just like I don't really know how it.
Instead, it was like, I feel like I know what this is because I built multiple Labo kits.
I don't even know, like outside of like our network, how widely Labo kind of if it's like a thing that parents know
I think it's
of.
done well enough because I'm seeing knockoff Labo kits in Targets and like other big box stores.
Like that work with the existing Labo stuff?
I think like it's like this is more durable cardboard.
Oh, is it
like,
just knockoff versions of the same designs?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
It's weird.
Huh.
I don't think there's any software attached. I think it's like the same kind of like die cut or like laser cut kits, but meant to work with the Labo stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's stuff that people came up with and marketed prior to Labo's launch, and if they would do it again, knowing what they know now.
Maybe, yeah.
Like the same way that like all those companies produced extension cables for the NES Classic, and then we're like, oh fuck, you can't find any of these in stores, but you can find our extension cable.
Yeah.
Yay! Like a weird situation like that.
I don't know. With the horsepower in the Switch, it's hard to imagine these games are going to be especially complicated.
We'll see. Yeah, if it's got to duplicate the image, and I guess it's 720.
Yeah,
which is not a great resolution to bolt to your face.
Yeah,
but
it's got to run at a high frame rate to not make you sick.
Of
course, I mean, whatever the Google Cardboard was for phones. And
but
phones are kind of like the Switch.
Phones are higher resolution than the Switch.
Right, but similar horsepower.
Yeah. So yeah,
it'll be fine.
Maybe that'll be cool.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if there's more to it than that, or if it's like, hey, here's our VR kit and that's it, or are third-party devs gonna be like, hey, we want to make VR games for the Switch. Will Nintendo have anything for them? Or will it be like, oh no, this is a Labo kit. Don't come to us with these pitches.
Yes.
These pitches, bitches.
Yeah.
Valve has come out and announced that the video game entitled Rape Day will not be available on Steam.
Oh, good.
After apparently much deliberation.
Good for them.
You could probably use your imagination as to what that game probably entails.
Yeah.
Loot game?
No, I'm not even going to joke about this one. I could just read their statement.
The statement, the gist of it is that like, hey, for kind of business, unforeseen business consequences.
Yeah.
Not that we're against. Just it's probably not a good business deal.
The purpose of Steam is to help developers find an audience, but this developer has chosen content matter and a way of representing it that makes it very difficult for us to help them do that.
Wait. Read that again. I'm sorry.
The purpose of Steam is to help developers find an audience.
Yeah.
But this developer has chosen content matter and a way of representing it.
A way of representing it.
That makes it very difficult for us to help them do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
They'd be okay with it in a different light. Just not this light.
Well,
I'm not.
I mean, this blew up. Like,
I
feel like we should fill in that this was like a point of much contention before they finally relented.
Right.
With the backstory,
the page was on Steam, and it was like the game was getting ready to launch. And
was it a year and a half ago when they kind of said, all right, go ahead, put whatever you want
Right.
on our store.
Yeah.
We don't care anymore.
Yeah.
They
put in controls for filtering pages out for adult games, and they just kind of like say, fuck it.
They have taken a very laissez-faire approach to gatekeeping their storefront.
Yeah.
Until now. Because you see where that gets you.
Yeah, but then they've done it in the most like trying to frame it as a business decision, which probably prevents them from having to create a precedent for other types of content for other regions. And that sort of I feel like this issue is actually way more complicated than it seems, because of like the minute you come out and say, hey, we're actually not putting a game on the store because of content. And I saw this going around in a couple of places that like, okay, do you suddenly have governments in different parts of the world saying, oh, we need to ban these 9 games because of this, because of, in our country, this is not allowed. And, you know, things that you'd be like, oh, well, that should definitely be allowed to be sold. So they suddenly have to start doing that sort of stuff.
This kind of gives them the wriggle room of like, this specific game has a specific business reason.
Right.
We are not allowing it.
At the same time, on its surface, you look at it and go, you guys just kind of didn't come out against rape, which is super fucked up.
Yes.
And this should be easy.
Yes.
And it should be.
Yeah.
Point blank, it should be. Yeah. Yes. That's, I think, all I have to say about that.
Yeah, it's hard to see how this is not a problem of their own making, because they did open the floodgates.
Yeah.
In a way that most people don't, or most store holders.
Well, you know, like Steam has not been great at curating any, you know, they've been so reluctant to insert themselves into any portion of the process.
Yeah.
And handing things off to user reviews and handing things off to, hey, your friends are doing this. And, you know, like so many things that should probably be just a firmer hand in the curation department would go a long way.
Yeah.
And they've refused to, you know, and this is stuff that's, you know, hey, customer service has been knocked a lot on Steam as something that they don't have enough of because a lot of it gets outsourced and this and that, you know, like Valve's reluctance to just fucking put people in the fucking silo and say, do the job. Which is something that, you know, Facebook gets knocked for a lot when it comes to, you know, policing content on their platform and all that sort of stuff. And
Valve
it's
especially
a problem of the internet.
Has an issue with it, with their kind of structure of the company. You hear the stories about, like,
you do, yeah,
you know,
absolutely,
like not having clearly defined leaders and leadership.
Yeah,
well,
makes it harder.
I don't know that I want to. I don't know that I want to.
There's still somebody at the head of that company.
Oh, for
someone
sure.
signs the checks.
Yeah.
Yes, but like, you know, it's easier at these. It's easier to be like, hey, it's your job. You're the senior vice president of this. It's your job to make sure this thing doesn't happen. When you have a loosey-goosey kind of like, everyone works on what they want approach.
Totally. And you know, but
why would anyone voluntarily want to take on the responsibility of that?
Right. And I guess like that's something that you hear a lot about Valve structure, and you don't know if that applies to 100% of the company or not.
Sure.
You know,
and you know why you don't hear that? Because they don't ever talk about it. They don't, like, it's very non-transparent, which on one hand, it's their right. They're not a publicly traded company. They don't have to do this sort of thing. But on the other hand, it would alleviate a lot of people's complaints with a lot of the way that company is run.
They could definitely be better about explaining their actions in a lot of different departments, not just this.
Yeah.
You know, this is obviously like a fucking egregious example, a fucking nightmare scenario. But you can apply that, like their hands-off approach, I think, affects them in a lot of different ways that are not related to this type of content. You know, the artifact situation.
Yeah.
You know, like that sort of stuff.
Which was confirmed, right? That Richard Garfield.
Yeah, we talked about this about a month ago, I feel. That, like someone wrote into the podcast and said that Richard Garfield and a lot of that Artifact, the card team, the card game side of Artifact had moved on.
I just assumed from day one that he would finish this project and go.
Yeah.
Like, he's too big a name in that world.
Well, you think like maybe
bind himself to Valve, you know?
You know, he does the launch and then maybe like year one of content and balancing and like new cards and then he's out or something. Like, I feel like you don't get somebody of that caliber and just have them finish the game, especially if you want to make it a game that is
updated. Yeah,
updated.
totally.
And then, maybe he's there, he makes the roadmap, he kind of installs the ideas.
Here's year one for you, but it sounds like he did do some of that stuff, and then and it sounded like he was still offering some advice for free to people who are still there on that game.
Yeah, I never assumed this was anything but a contract situation of he will get this game out the door, his name will be on it, and then he will be on his way.
Yeah.
So that's not super surprising. There was also some scuttlebutt, which you said was not true, that a bunch of their VR people have been let go.
There was someone from the VR team out there refuting some of that and saying like, hey, we are still like interested in VR hardware. Don't be like, it would be wild for us to abandon that, considering the position we have taken on VR.
Initially, initially the story was like, hey, there are layoffs at Valve, and a lot of them are the VR team.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, shit, what's happening? But it sounds like that was not the case.
It sounds like that was, or maybe that was overstated a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, Valve is that weird black box where, you think you know how it works, or you think you know things are about how they run it, and then you kind of don't.
Yeah.
And so when they put out statements about that game not being on their platform, it's hard to know. Is that can you take that at face value? Are there like bigger things going on than just that?
Yeah.
And the answer is probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that post was signed. It was written by Eric Johnson, who I don't know, I'm not super familiar with, but I think he's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's Cave Johnson.
It's his grandson. He inherited the business.
That's right.
Diablo 1 came out on GOG.
Weird.
Which I really don't get.
Yeah, you would think you would see this on a Blizzard launcher.
Totally.
Right?
And they imply they participated in the remastering of it.
Yeah.
That is how GOG does their remasters
most
of
but
the time. Or,
it's just Blizzard in particular. Like, they have their own store and launcher already. They have like a whole classic games division now. I'm not sure. I'm not clear why this game suddenly they brought in a third party to help make and sell it.
Blizzard just went through a bunch of, like Blizzard is focused on a lot of other projects, and that's a pretty low tier one for them to do.
Yeah, I guess
I also heard, I don't know if it's true, you guys might know that GOG actually helped with the Diablo 3 console ports. I feel like I saw somebody online talking about that.
I don't know.
That they had like a hand in porting, something to do with Diablo 3. I would have to check. But
so the thing GOG does is they come in and get these games and put them on the service, and it's kind of like found money for a lot of publishers.
Yeah,
because it's like, because GOG does all the work, they build the DOSBox wrapper, whatever they need to do.
Like, it might just be the people who own the IP.
Exactly.
Who ended up with the IP after 20 years or whatever.
And so
they weren't going to do anything with it.
And as a result, GOG gets those games on a timed exclusive basis, and then after that, those games eventually show up on Steam and other places with GOG's work in it.
Interesting.
And generally, GOG has been okay with that sort of stuff.
Okay, so maybe this does end up on Battle.net. Yeah,
that's my guess. This is exclusive to GOG for some chunk of time because they did all the work, because Blizzard was not going to do the work. So GOG did it.
It's just weird because
it ends up on Battle.net.
I felt like we kept seeing those stories of like, Blizzard just posted another job listing for someone with classic games experience or whatever. Like, it seemed like they were building up to them doing this themselves. So
right,
I don't know,
but maybe those are the people that are doing WoW Classic and the Warcraft 3 stuff.
They're doing a lot of work on that Warcraft 3 thing.
So it's like the sort of thing where maybe they would eventually get to Diablo 1.
Yeah,
but also this is something they can do.
Yeah.
And it's not a problem, and they could still do a bigger thing with Diablo 1 down the line if they wanted to. If they wanted to do a full remaster or a full rework, they could.
After watching Rory play it for a few minutes and looking at some of the user reviews on the GOG page, I don't know that they need to do anything else.
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to be of the mind that it does not hold up.
No,
it's great.
Like, hey,
it's the first one.
Video games came a long way.
Yeah.
It's the first one. Fucking encase it in fucking plastic and put it out on GOG.
Yeah. It's only $10.
Yeah.
It's so weird to me, the messaging this sends when you had people, the last big like Blizzard outrage was, where's our new Diablo? We want a new Diablo. Where's Diablo 4? This phone game is not Diablo. I'm mad about Diablo. And then it's just like, well, how about we're going to not even bring back Diablo when you have to go to somebody else for that? It's like one of those, it's just like, from an optics point of view, it's really weird.
I guess I see it, but also like, I don't think that I don't think they care that much about Diablo 1 for
No.
the reasons cited. Like it's, you know, like it's not a game you bring back on its own. It's a game you do stuff to and remaster and put back out.
Sure.
To put like modern BattleNet hooks into it or whatever you need to do.
I am jumping to huge conclusions here, but Diablo 1 was also made by a bunch of people who have been long gone from Blizzard.
Sure.
So there's nobody at Blizzard who, I mean, maybe there's somebody, but like all the big names from Diablo 1 left Blizzard ages ago.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's less
Yeah, maybe they're not like
passion for it.
Yeah, they could be.
This says they did right by it from what I can see. I mean, it's $10. It says travelers looking for the authentic Diablo experience can play the game as it was in 1996 with period-appropriate 20 frames per second Super VGA graphics and the ability to matchmake through the classic version of BattleNet.
Really?
Blizzard and GOG.com have also collaborated on an updated version of the game tuned for today's gaming PCs, which includes out-of-the-box Windows 10 compatibility, a host of bug fixes, and high-resolution support via aspect ratio correct upscaling. So,
16 by 9?
yeah, I think that's how Rory was playing it.
All right.
So, like, it is a pretty well modernized version of the game for $10. So there you go. All right. Moving from old games to new old games, a Quake 1 engine game has been announced.
Quake 1 engine game.
Yes.
Wow. That's why.
Wrath Eon of Ruin,
Raytheon.
made by Kill Pixel Games.
And then put out by 3D Realms, right?
And 1C.
Okay.
Like 3D Realms' name was all over this announcement, and then I clicked through the Steam page, and it was like 3D Realms, 1C.
Yeah.
So, which is a Russian publisher.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing against them. You know, they put out tons of PC games, but like 3D Realms is not the only.
Well, 3D Realms is like I don't know what 3D Realms is anymore.
That's
It's
that's kind of what I mean.
Like that
like,
sub brand of the whatever the company that published that new Rise of the Triad, right?
Right. Like that's kind of what I mean. Like at this point, you just slap the 3D Realms name on something and get a certain amount of cachet. In a classic game sense.
I don't know if cachet is.
Well, that's the intention.
Okay.
It evokes the
yeah.
That's what they're going for.
There's an attempt made
For a certain type of gamer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hang on. I had the page up with the announcement page does not have a lot of info on
For
the
me,
game.
it's that old as shit company that used to make video games before I was born.
Damn it, I had the page. I had a page up with some interesting info about it. It's made by like a bunch of longtime like Quake 1 modders and mappers, which are exactly the people you would want making a new Quake 1 engine game.
That's fun
because they've been working.
Lord.
They've been working with that thing for a while,
and it's a full story and campaign.
Yeah.
It's not just like a deathmatch mod.
Oh, definitely. So
Okay.
it's weird. It's like a hub type situation. It's non-linear.
All right.
Like you just go do the areas of the game as you want, and you have like a limited number of saves. Like you have to pick up items to save, kind of like Resident Evil style almost.
All right.
It's got some like Hexen-esque qualities to it as well from the sound of it. Very much sounds like a throwback.
Okay.
I'm curious what type of Quake 1 engine we're talking. Like, are we talking straight out of the box?
No. Well,
Actual
no.
Quake
Can't
1,
be.
or
Like,
did they
did they
get one
start
of
with the Dark Places engine
That's what I mean.
and go from there?
That's what I mean. Did they get one of the
yeah.
most modern source ports and just say it's Quake 1, even though it's like very modified from that?
Right.
I don't know. But it looks kind of cool.
Yeah, I want to see a modernized take on like with that
Yeah,
engine.
yeah. Some of the stuff they're talking about with like non-linear levels and stuff sounds interesting.
Is it going to be optimized for ray tracing?
Doubtful.
Ray Tracer.
Speaking of Halo,
As we just were.
signs continue to build that the Master Chief Collection is coming out on PC.
Yes.
I guess Microsoft insider Brad Sams
Is
has
that
been
already?
saying this for a while,
God.
but then
Yeah. This seems like something that's been.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's kind of one little piece of evidence after another.
Yeah.
And it's just like a no-brainer.
Microsoft.
Yeah.
Well, that game was such a technical mess that I wouldn't have assumed they could get it up and running well on PC.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
They've been working on it for 3-4
Yeah.
years.
In some ways, it makes it the perfect test bed because they've never stopped working on it.
I guess Microsoft itself was teasing a Master Chief Collection related announcement recently on one of those Inside Xbox streams. And then now it has shown up on the Windows Store listed for Xbox One and Hub, which means Surface Hub, which is a Windows 10 platform.
Okay.
So I don't know what. Anyway, people are taking all this to assume that it will be out on PC very soon.
And it has to be coming to Game Pass, right?
I think it's
I'm
already on.
already
It's
on?
definitely,
Yes.
it's definitely already
So
on there.
Okay.
presumably that would be if you were a Game Pass subscriber,
So-
you could get that PC version.
Yes.
And yeah, if anything, like that's probably the reason this is happening, right? Like they just want to be able to say that they have more PC games to offer to Game Pass people.
Yeah, I mean they need to build a case for Game Pass on PC,
Yeah.
and
Getting their whole
I
first
would
party
assume
catalog
that
on there.
the other work they're doing around like that State of Decay stuff
Right.
and running native Xbox One games on PC somehow,
Yeah.
is probably the other part of this.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they've got some big announcement around that stuff brewing for E3.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe sooner.
Just like, yeah. It's like, hey, every game we've made for the Xbox One is now on PC.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or something of that nature.
That seems like an announcement they will literally make at some point over the next few months.
You heard it here.
See this wrestling game for NES that leaked out?
Yeah.
No, that's WCW wrestling.
Yeah, so it's
You mean
called
UWC.
Yeah, it's called Universal Wrestling Corporation,
That's fucked.
which is
So
apparently
weird.
the name it's the placeholder name that WCW was using while it was being purchased by Ted Turner.
Yeah. So that was still like used as even like a holding company name for years and
Okay.
years. The UWC. So maybe like before, because World Championship Wrestling as a name was used years prior to that as the name of a TV show,
Okay.
as opposed to the name of a federation.
Right.
And then at some point, it just became the kind of name of the federation, and they went forward with that name across the board. But yeah, they had a corporation, Universal Wrestling Corporation.
It's a good name
Yeah.
for a wrestling thing.
And so this game just surfaced.
Yeah, like it was made by Sega, which
yeah.
is a long defunct Japanese studio,
Yeah.
and nobody knew it existed until this leaked onto. Well, so I guess the ROM hasn't been dumped as of yet,
It just hasn't been
or
made
did
public.
the guy dump it? So a guy bought it.
Yeah, a guy got a hold of it, sent it to Frank Cifaldi.
So is it
Yeah,
really?
He
Okay,
currently,
so it's been properly preserved.
I believe Frank just put out a full playthrough
Okay.
of the game
Okay.
on YouTube
So
for the Video Game History Foundation.
that is ultimately the question I wanted to ask around this, but I will just say apparently it's been in the possession of a Nintendo employee for 30 years.
Yeah.
But it was never announced. It was never marketed.
Right.
Like
Yeah, it's
nobody has
crazy.
ever heard of this game outside of Nintendo until somebody bought the
And the game
prototype.
is playable start to finish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like flashy, but
Right.
a lot of wrestling games of that era were not.
But
Yeah,
this game was essentially like WCW.
It is
wrestling.
WCW Wrestler. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. UWC,
Yeah.
it is not the WCW game that came out.
Oh, really?
It is a totally different game.
Because some of the sprites
totally
looked
different
very
company.
different. Like
Yeah.
I looked
Like
at that and I'm
yeah.
like, wow, that's.
But
It's not that game
huh.
at all.
I mean, it's got Ric Flair in it. It's
yeah.
got Sting.
It's got Bobby Eaton in
the,
it.
the Road
for Christ's
Warriors.
sake.
Like it's legit. But yeah, like ultimately the question I had was like, since this game was never even announced, much less released, like does this fit into the canon of NES games? Like, is it?
Yeah, I mean,
Does it
you know,
matter to people that care about stuff like that?
Well, like in what way?
Like,
I mean,
is it considered an official NES game? Like, is
Yeah,
it something
sure.
people, the collectors, are interested in?
I mean, it will be dumped and released, and will run on it will run on an 8-bit Nintendo.
I guess really the
right.
question is like, does something have to have been released to really sort of matter on the list of like the body of work of the platform?
I think it makes
Yeah, I see
it
what
matter
you're saying.
more for certain people.
Yeah, like it's an interesting artifact of a really weird era where probably they developed this to pitch
Mm,
to
right.
to Turner
or like maybe
or to whoever, like, was it pre-Turner?
Yeah.
I don't know where the UWC name first originated.
or maybe they had the rights and the deal fell through or
Right.
something.
Yeah. Or they were working on another game for Japan that they ended up not shipping, but
Yeah.
they had this version with these US wrestlers in it. Yeah, like the story behind this game is a mystery.
Yeah.
And that's I would love to know more about that. Because yeah, it's this fully formed game from an era, like with these WCW wrestlers
Yeah.
in it, that presumably was like going to be made and marketed at some point.
Like if this had come out, it would be completely unremarkable.
Oh, totally.
Like nobody would remember it.
No, yeah, it's because even the WCW game that shipped was probably a little worse than this, honestly. But I have not played it, so I don't know.
It's just crazy that a basically finished NES game could just sit there for decades.
Yeah, like
and
it has.
nobody knew about
I watched the video of the playthrough this morning. It has
Yeah.
end credits in it. You
Yeah.
know, it's very bare bones, but like a lot of wrestling games then were.
What would you rate it?
From watching it be played,
Mhm.
it looks like it's probably pretty bad.
Okay.
But a lot of wrestling games are.
It's a good Ric Flair though.
It's a decent Ric Flair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes you wonder how many other things like this are out
Yeah,
there.
that's
if
the
it was
crazy
just,
thing. Is
like sitting with an employee,
Right.
and he just like gave it away as like a gift. Like, hey,
Yeah.
you're into wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Everyone should play with this.
Does the New Kids on the Block game truly exist
Fuck.
somewhere? Does that Vanilla Ice game that got
Yeah.
announced?
Oh
Actually?
man, somebody has to have it.
Did it ever enter actual production?
Yeah.
And
This is like on a cart and playable and like
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's
So it
crazy.
sounds like this will make its way out there for
Yeah.
people to play.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Mhm.
much like that SimCity prototype eventually did.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I will happily play it once and go, huh?
Yep. Yep. All right. Lastly, every single week when I'm going through the news for this podcast, I see some update on the various lawsuits that have been filed against Epic Games about dances in Fortnite.
Where are we at now?
So a recent Supreme Court ruling has effectively shut down all of those lawsuits for the
Really?
foreseeable future.
Okay, how so?
Because none of the ruling was effectively that before you can challenge a copyright or like sue for copyright infringement, your application for copyright has to have been fully processed and approved.
Oh, okay.
Previously,
All right.
you could just have filed the application and then immediately get to suing.
Yep.
But because 2 Milli and Backpack Kid and Alfonso Ribeiro don't actually have copyrights on those dances,
Yeah.
they can no longer sue Epic
Right.
for those dances being in Fortnite.
So I feel like the thing the line was you can't copyright a short dance move.
So
Like he had tried to,
yeah,
and
I
was
think-
told no.
I think the Carlton had been rejected for being too simple.
That's a weirdly judgmental.
Yeah.
Like who decides if a dance is too simple?
It's
And
weird to judge
totally
that, but
bullshit
like,
because it is not that simple. There's a nuance to that dance.
True.
I mean, I could be like, this is the Ben Pack dance, and if you have that in your game, you're fucked because this is the Ben
Shit.
Pack dance.
Okay, I have that in my game. So,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't be fucked because I would then point to a million things of that taking place. It would be footage of Princess Di all day long.
she
The
stole it from
Queen,
me.
all that other
She
stuff.
also stole it from me.
She was doing it before you were born.
No, that was fake Princess Di.
Oh shit.
Look, I have a whole thing.
Okay, all right. You've done your research. Now it's time for me to do mine. I get it.
Also, from what I gather, the same lawyer is representing pretty much all of these parties.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that Supreme Court ruling was designed in part to kind of like shut down some kind of copyright, like just some trollish
Like
lawsuits.
frivolous
Yeah.
litigation, perhaps.
Or I didn't
Yes.
go back to the actual decision to
Yeah.
see if that was what they were trying to
I think
accomplish.
it was just about
but-
Fortnite.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
Brett Kavanaugh's a big Fortnite
That-
guy.
that
He
case-
wanted to see the
yeah.
sanctity of the game ruined.
That
Yeah.
case,
building. I just like building.
that case is Fourth Estate Public Benefit Corporation versus WallStreet.com. Is where the precedent was set. Anyway, the lawyer says we've filed applications for all these copyrights and we will refile the lawsuits as soon as they are approved.
But it sounds like
If they are approved.
Yeah, if they're approved, which
So-
sounds like that's the if.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's something about this that is like I guess those people came up with the Carlton one I think is more complicated, but Backpack Kid came up with that dance, right?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
You know, if we assume that is true, that's cannot you own a dance and then if someone takes it and puts it into a thing and makes a fuckload of money off of it,
Yeah.
can you not say, hey,
Initially, I was like, "Oh, this is a funny story, haha."
Yeah.
But there was I did some more reading about it. There's a really good article about companies basically companies profiting off of black entertainers'
Yeah.
dances and stuff. Like a long history of that.
Totally.
It's nothing new in the entertainment industry, and this can be perceived as another case of that. And yeah, it's just like it's a mess all around.
I think the Carlton one ends up being weird because he was working on a TV show and it was made for the TV show and it has
And he
roots
co-opted
in,
it from
he
someone
co-opted
else.
it from, in an interview said that it was something like that Courtney
Inspired.
Cox dance.
Yeah.
Like that one I think is very muddy.
But also like Dance Evolve, it's
Yeah.
art. Anything involving around rulings and precedent and art, it just
Yeah.
gets messy.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the nature of the business model of free-to-play games would give them more of a leg to stand on, because it could come out through discovery if this made it to trial that they could point to a dollar figure and say,
that exact
here's how
dance.
many of these Carlton dances you have sold. Here is
They would have to disclose.
here is a hard revenue number that you have made off of this specific dance.
It's not like, hey, people bought the game and the dance was in it. In the case of like Forza or something
you
like
were
that.
selling this piecemeal.
So do these dances go back into Forza now?
Ooh, that's a
Probably
good
not.
question.
They probably don't want to expose themselves in the case
Man.
of
What is-
stuff being reinstated somewhere down the line.
What is
But
Forza without being able to floss on top of a waterfall?
That's a good point.
Like, what's the point? I don't even need a car. Just the floss.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's all the news that I have.
No, I'm up to date.
Yeah, that's right. You guys need another break, or you want to roll?
I would go for another break.
All right,
Yeah.
let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and read emails.
I've been drinking water.
Okay, here is a selection of emails that were curated from the inbox of bombcast@giantbomb.com.
Thanks for picking those up. buddy.
Yeah, I got a lot, actually.
Why don't you read one?
I've got 42 emails here.
Whoa.
Read the first one.
I haven't been deleting the ones that we don't read from the last few weeks. So they're
Oh, let me tell you, as someone who deals with voicemails, that will overwhelm you quickly.
really piling up here. Let's start with this one from Max
It's a good problem.
in Sydney, Australia.
Okay.
He has 2 questions. Lasers or bullets?
Lasers.
I find lasers, despite how they actually work in every game, ineffectual and would much rather tear my enemies apart with hot lead. I guess the best example of this is the Halo games. Give me Spartan weapons every time. What are your thoughts?
Check this out. If you shoot a fat laser at somebody, you get that moment where they're like standing there like with their mouth agape and their hands up in the air, and they slowly look down and see a big hole in the middle of them, and it's like clean because the laser also cauterizes the wound, so it's just like clean through, and then they fall down.
But they don't make like any noise. Like a laser.
What?
Yeah, there's no real laser blast noise. They don't do that in real life, though.
We're not talking about real life
I
here,
think we
damn
are.
it.
I think we are, Ben. I think we are.
Well, if we're talking about real life, of course we're not
Bullets.
picking lasers.
Yeah, if we're talking about real life, then the
It's
laser
like-
I bought off the internet that can set a piece of cardboard on fire is cool, but
But
you got to wear
that's-
the glasses. It's very scary.
what I'm saying, just shoot a bullet, because
Boring.
I'm gonna go
Ben.
with
big
I'm gonna go with
pop
bullets.
noise. Yeah.
Ben, you
'Cause-
can't dump with a laser gun, you know? But that's not as satisfying as going like, "Grrr," you know, with bullets.
I
Man
mean,
speaks the truth.
okay, lasers can bypass. I can wear armor that protects me from bullets. I can't wear armor that protects me from lasers.
Yeah, you can. It's called a
A
mirror.
Not super lasers.
That's against super lasers.
Well,
even.
okay, maybe you might need a super mirror, I guess. But
And Jeff, how can mirrors be real if our eyes aren't real? Answer me this: if we're talking about hypotheticals.
that's okay. All right, you got me.
I'm gonna go with bullets because in Mass Effect they had the option to do lasers, and instead they went with like
Space bullets.
insanely highly accelerated shards of metal. Yes.
Remember how fucking cool the Death Star was?
Not
That
so
T-bar
much
was
anymore.
pretty cool.
Well, not anymore, of course, but like, fucking bullets.
So the thing with lasers
Mhm.
is that you have to be precise and aim. The thing with bullets is that there's a spray, and if some of them hit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You don't have to be
It's also
precise.
good.
You can just like whip
It's
it
a-
around
it's a
and
surprise.
just like
Yeah, okay. If you just had a straight up zorching ass fucking
Yeah, dude.
that's like a lightsaber that goes infinite fucking yards.
Fuck yeah!
That's all right.
I can't believe you people. I thought you all were cool. Bullets suck ass.
That doesn't exist. The thing you're saying doesn't exist, man. If you're saying like, because
I just read an article
that
about how
laser-
China is going to win the sea wars of the future because their big boats have really cool lasers and we don't.
well, that's the thing is your laser that is just a big long thing, going forever does not go pew pew pew. It goes more of a.
That's cool as shit.
That is cool in a different way. Like a.
I like that sound.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah.
If it does that.
I want
But your
like,
little
the
lasers
GI
and
Joe lasers, the short bursts that just might as well be bullets, like a machine gun laser.
That would be, yeah.
that's
That would
the
be
best
my
of both
choice.
worlds.
But this is a real world, Ben. I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
I feel like those sound effects aren't real anyway. It's just like Priuses, just not having
Yeah.
actual engines.
All right, next question. Yamcha sucks. Everyone knows this, but would you watch a spin-off miniseries covering his briefly mentioned baseball career? There would be no Dragon Ball Energy Attack craziness and only fleeting references to the main series. Yamcha Baseball Hero would cover a season of baseball, and mostly involve fighting and playing ball anime style.
They kind of
Can you think of a better Dragon Ball spinoff?
What's it called?
There's an episode.
There's
where
a
they do that.
baseball anime.
Yamcha in charge?
Yeah.
Also,
Yamcha's in charge of nothing.
Yamcha Baseball Hero is his name for this.
I was looking into the Dragon Ball canon. I didn't know there was a spin-off manga called...
Now, if you had a Dragon Ball canon, you would only have 7 shots, but you would make them count.
There was a manga called like I Woke Up as Yamcha or something, and it's like somebody who knows what Dragon Ball is and wakes up as Yamcha.
I think I might have a copy of that at my desk. I think someone might have sent that
I want
in.
to read that.
Yeah.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like he knew everything that was going to happen in Dragon Ball, so he was able to become like the most powerful creature because he knew the future.
Okay, I can get on board
It's
with
cool.
this.
But who would believe Yamcha?
Yeah.
If Yamcha came to you and said, "Hey man, fucking bro, this is gonna happen," you'd be like, "Fucking shut up, dick."
Like, even knowing everything he should know, he would still try and get at Bulma.
Yeah.
He would still try and
I mean,
mess up that marriage.
that'd be his number one. Well, I mean, this is like from Dragon Ball.
Oh, all the way from
Yeah,
Dragon Ball.
Yeah. This is like
Oh.
Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z. And
Okay.
for the record, Yamcha was cool in Dragon Ball.
I find that hard to believe, but
At the end, Max says, "Lastly, I am a cop. Knife beats bat every time, no question. Nothing is scarier than a guy with a knife,
Word.
except a guy with a gun."
Congrats to Team Knife for choosing the cop answer.
Yeah, I don't trust a cop.
Yeah, seriously.
He told us, though, so that's good.
That's what he wants you to think.
but also I feel like he would know.
He doesn't want us to know the truth.
All right. Email
Okay, I'm also willing to accept that possibility.
Email from Ryan. "I feel like fall, winter, and summer all have their specific foods to look forward to. For example, hot dogs for summer, pumpkin pie for fall.
I ate a hot dog last week.
But
Hell yeah.
But spring is noticeably left out.
Spring rolls.
What would you consider a spring food? Is this why spring is the worst season?"
Easter candy.
Ooh, yeah. You can't really. Can't make that a staple of your diet, though.
Peeps.
Says who?
It's
Yeah,
peep
Peeps.
season.
It's a bad
season.
idea to eat a Cadbury cream egg at every meal.
Yeah,
Fish
but-
fillets.
Take it from me.
What about the egg-shaped Reese's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
are
eat
so
those
good.
every day.
Those are so good.
Because of the Lenten season in
Not
spring,
supposed
I'm going
to,
to say Filet-O-Fish is a
Mm.
spring food.
Okay.
Okay.
Because Chick-fil-A, they rolled out with a fish sandwich. It's probably, they're only going to
Arby's is
advertise.
doing a big new fish sandwich.
There you go.
All this fish.
What's with all this fish?
What the fish?
Don't they know that the fish supply is dwindling already?
I agree though that
The
spring is the
oceans are
worst.
acid.
Spring is the worst season.
Yeah.
I might as well get the fish out before they just die from acid.
Oh.
Get them out and cook them while you can.
I got a different
What?
kind of acid for those fish.
death.
My stomach acid.
Hell yeah.
Get inside, baby.
Brr, 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 brr.
What kind of gun is that?
So, what was it?
It's a
Yeah.
sound gun.
Yeah, it's a sound gun. It's the thing. It's like a.
That's a laser. That's a type of
it's
laser.
a denial.
That's on team laser.
You know, it's like if there's just sound being broadcast in a
Yeah.
direction and you feel sick or hurt.
Okay, well, let me ask you this.
Okay, go ahead.
Bullets or those heat cannons that they shoot at you that doesn't it has no visual effect, but it makes you feel like you're on fire?
I think the heat cannon is fascinating.
Yeah.
But if you're like, what's the competition?
It's which is cooler.
Well, the bullets are a known quantity. Bullets are, whatever.
Exactly.
Who cares?
Exactly.
Well, what about those air bucket guns that are kind of like slingshots, and you just like pull it back and then shoots a gust of air?
Yeah.
Those are pretty cool.
Those are
Or
pretty cool.
marshmallow like guns.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Potato gun.
Oh, even
All
better.
things that
Yeah.
aren't bullets.
Well, I mean, they're kind of like a
Fuck
slug
bullets.
form.
Yeah,
so
it's like a bullet made out of potato.
Right.
It's still a bullet. It's a bad bullet.
Marshmallow is definitely a projectile.
You're not gonna have a marshmallow laser gun.
You're not going to have a marshmallow laser with that attitude.
I mean, it's probably
None
in
for you.
Fortnite already.
Yeah.
Just imagine a continual
10 million
beam
people
of
have
marshmallow.
the marshmallow laser.
Stay puffed.
There's an email we talked about during the break that I forgot to mention.
Okay.
This comes in from Gearbox at gear.box. It says,
Do not open the attachment.
yeah, seriously.
Oh, God.
The email says, March 28th, Boston, Ma.
Yeah.
What do you think? No, this is actually a tweet that they just put out on their account.
Yeah.
It is a big road sign.
Big
that says
Borderlands looking road sign.
Boston, and yeah, there's graffiti that says March 28th tagged across it,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which is PAX.
which is part of PAX.
So
Okay.
they've had a PAX panel multiple times.
Yeah.
So if they're trying to tease something, I guess they teased Battleborn shit before, didn't they? I'm trying to remember.
Yes.
What form of
there
teasers
was a
they
Battleborn
did.
PAX.
Yeah, there was
thing.
definitely a Battleborn PAX panel, but I'm wondering like how they framed it up ahead of time.
Was that the one where they announced it and then said everybody in the audience will get a copy of the game, and also we're ordering pizza for everybody?
I have no idea.
They've pulled some stunts at PAX panels before.
So yeah, I
thumb
mean,
drive for everybody. Don't open
yeah.
this to get home.
Don't open it at work.
We're taking everyone to medieval times.
Yay! My knight's gonna win. Yeah, they've been long overdue to finally start talking about Borderlands 3 or whatever the next Borderlands game is.
PAX the place to do it though.
Like
Borderlands 3
E3.
seems like a big
I was
announcement.
gonna say, well, who at E3? Unless they're doing a deal with Microsoft, who is the only publisher, the only platform holder doing a major thing there.
Also, they dominate the news if it's like if that's the only big game announcement at a PAX.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and they want to do it this time of year, so they can't do it at the Game Awards or something like that.
Yep.
Then yeah,
Why
Maybe.
not?
Maybe it's finally time.
I'm
It
excited
is long
at the
past
idea.
time. Yeah, they should, and they've been coy or talked about it very openly in terms of like, oh yeah, no, we're working on another Borderlands game, you know, or hey, we're staffing up for the next Borderlands. Or they've said multiple things about it over the last chunk of time here. So presumably, if they're going to devote a panel to it, they'll have something meaningful to say beyond like Borderlands 3, because that would be pretty underwhelming.
They just do that for the entire panel.
Yeah.
I mean, if they announced it, then we would know for sure that it's not the Half-Life 3, the next Half-Life.
Yeah, we would know. Half-Life 3 also got announced, for the record. That game was announced.
Okay.
No, that was Half Dead 3.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
I have this skepticism that is based on nothing but my own gut feeling
I think I know what you're going to say,
That
'cause
a-
I was about to say it.
that a Borderlands 3 is going to be way too much like a Borderlands 2.
Okay, yes. I also,
Like, I'm
I
worried they have
potentially
not.
feel that way.
I'm worried they are not going to make the changes they need to make.
I would take it.
I don't. Just another
would take it.
Borderlands is not enough at this point. That thing was like 2 was already kind of a little too bare bones for.
Or,
Not bare bones.
You know, there
it was
a
a
ton
complete
of,
game,
It was a complete game,
but it
I
did
feel
not
like
have
the systems
new
did
stuff.
not change
Yes,
enough.
it did not have the new stuff that you wanted.
Yeah.
I think if they make a Borderlands 2 that takes a couple of notes from modern games, I would be perfectly fine with that.
But I feel like those notes are make a live service
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
'cause
yeah,
that's
it's
the
gonna
game
be
they-
that no matter what.
That was the game they were making without the central server stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
just a 4-player Diablo kind of thing, and Diablo went in that direction, and they probably should do something like that too. Okay, that is not what I was thinking.
Oh, what were you thinking?
Do you think that the timing of this announcement is meant to distract from the previous, most recent Gearbox news?
Very possibly.
Just to be like, oh, we got to finally pull the trigger on this thing.
For when
because-
people Google Gearbox, it's not those old stories, and it's now a new story.
I mean, you know, like whatever. They were getting ready to announce it
Yes.
anyway, so that's
Maybe push it up a couple. Randy Pitchford just said maybe we push it up a couple months.
let's do it at PAX.
That was a good
Let's do it
Randy.
at PAX. Let's do it at PAX. How about we do it at PAX?
I want to make this news story disappear.
Oh God.
I would believe it. Email from Joey.
Hey, Joey.
I just jumped through Donut Plains 4's goal holding a Goomba and it turned into a mushroom. Are all power-up mushrooms sacrificed Goombas? Is this some sort of ascension?
Yes.
Doesn't Yoshi
Yeah.
turn into no?
No, Yoshi doesn't.
Yoshi doesn't. Like a power block turns into
Yoshi-
a coin.
Yoshi
I
lays...
thought that most things turned into
It's a
coins.
weird transitive property
Yoshi
in the Mushroom
eats
Kingdom.
Goombas and turns them into fireballs, right?
No,
red
turtle
shells.
shells turn into
Yeah.
red shells are fire.
Oh.
He
What does a Goomba turn into?
Nothing. He
Nothing.
eats
he eats it. Yeah, he
it. You
just
get a coin
dissolves
technically
that.
for eating it. I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know there's some like weird alchemy transmutation shit going on in the Mushroom Kingdom.
If you take enemies past a flagpole or past the bar,
It's usually-
I think
yeah,
they
it's
turn
usually-
into something, right?
Yeah.
Usually coins.
Yeah, I feel it's usually
Yeah.
coins.
Goombas can be neither created nor destroyed.
How do you carry a Goomba somewhere?
I don't know.
Oh, I guess in that game you can knock them over and carry them, right?
I guess?
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can knock them
know.
over and kick them.
I guess so.
In World.
Yes.
How do you knock them over without killing them?
What?
When you jump on them, don't they flip over?
Oh, that's right. They did do
what?
that, didn't they?
Yeah.
They flat.
Because
God,
they're
I forgot
technically not
about that.
Goombas. They're named something else
Oh, yeah.
in World.
I am conflating. Yes,
Yeah,
they're
no,
not the
it's-
Goombas.
yeah.
Okay.
They're not the Goombas.
They're not the Goombas.
They're not the Goombas.
It's like literally my favorite game of all
me the
time. I couldn't
Goombas.
visualize it.
Yeah, it happens.
There's another email in the same vein. Jeffrey from Indianapolis. On March 10th, or Marlo, Nintendo put out on their Switch news feed a neat little poster showing all the Mario games throughout the ages, and it got me thinking. Would Nintendo or could Nintendo release another Super Mario All-Stars? I have played and loved a large majority of Mario releases, but I barely played Sunshine and never got into Galaxy 2. Can't they just push the button and make this happen, at least leading up to Galaxy 2? I would gladly pay $100 for a collection like that. Wouldn't it do absolute gangbusters?
That's totally how game development works. You push a button.
They
and
have
then
so
it
many
happens.
buttons.
Yeah.
Instead, they realized they can sell Wii U versions of games for $60 a pop on the Switch. So I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
That's probably part of it.
Yeah, I think you could. Yeah, I mean, there have definitely been enough classic 3D Mario games that if you went like, okay, Mario 64 to what, Galaxy 2, that's almost too many games.
All right, you're
for
making
a compilation at that point.
Here
What's
we
4,
go.
right?
Oh, I guess maybe it is just 4.
You're making the Mario collection.
Okay.
5 games, 5 Mario games. What do you put in there?
1, 2, US 2, 3,
Well,
World,
Let's exclude everything that's in All-Stars.
and All Stars.
Because this is basically asking about, like, the subject line is Super Mario All-Stars 2. Like, it's basically, let's cut off after All-Stars and go from there.
Right.
Well, but I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
at that point, it's only 5 games. Like, it's only 64, Sunshine, Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2, Odyssey.
What about new?
Yeah. The
And
news,
all the news.
You
And
could do a new
Worlds.
collection because there's some of those with DS. And, you know,
I'm
but
more interested in
that's
like
not-
what are the 5?
What about
3D World.
What about 3D Land and World?
Yeah. But to me, those games don't hold the same. They're not like mainline ass. Like, they're good Mario games. But when I think of Mario games, I think of, Galaxy. And I think of Sunshine, which is unfortunate. But I think of it.
Yeah, it
Sorry
happens.
about that.
But I think if you were doing a collection of them, I think
You have at least one.
up-resed or modernized versions of those handheld games that you don't think of as like mainline Mario games would totally work.
Yeah.
They'd totally be great games.
It seems like of those new
6
the
golden
Wii U
coins, Super
one.
Mario Land 2.
is probably
In
the most
4K.
canonical because they have the cat suit. They're still all
Yeah.
about that cat suit.
All about that cat suit.
I mostly just want to talk about Mario All-Stars 1.
What a package!
Holy fucking shit. I thought that was the coolest thing when it came out.
All
Like,
the
it
hubbub when you
seemed
turn it
to-
on, they're all yelling, and then the
Yeah.
lights
Yeah.
turn on, they all
Yeah,
go,
I
oh,
was like,
fuck.
oh, places, everybody. I don't know. I thought that remaking those games to look like Super Nintendo games was brilliant.
It was pretty fucking cool.
It seemed to not make a lot of... or people didn't make a lot of fuss about it when it came out. Like, it just kind of came and went.
I
What I remember...
was very excited.
I
about it.
went
very
out
fussed.
I went out and got it day one, but it seemed like they started giving it out for free after a while, remember? Like,
Yeah.
it became like a pack-in.
Well, they
like
did a new version of the pack-in that had Mario World.
I
also.
know. That's even better.
Yeah, I
which is
remember
just
I had
fucking
that
nuts.
original one forever, and I was
Yeah.
like, it's still cool. Like 1, 2. It was the first time I got to play, Japan 2.
Yeah,
And then I found out there was one with World in it too. Holy
yeah.
shit.
Like, that's a crazy ass cartridge.
Are there any, like, physics changes that...
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not quite
Yeah.
true to the NES
Okay.
original. Not quite.
I suppose that is a black mark on its record.
You know, it's its
But-
own thing.
That's fine.
I thought it looked real good.
I like Super Mario Land.
That's
Oh,
Yes.
That Game Boy game
yeah.
is good. It is short,
Mario in an airplane.
but the music's really
Is
good.
that
Yeah,
the one with
those-
the branching
No,
paths?
no,
Oh, that's
that's,
6 golden
That's
coins.
Super Mario Land 2.
Okay. I like
believe.
that one. I never played.
Yeah, that's also
the
good.
original.
Like it's the resolution of the Game Boy does not do that game any favors.
Yeah.
Whereas in Mario Land 1, Mario is so tiny
Yeah, he's so
that
small.
it still works.
I have nostalgia for Mario Land because I got it with my Game Boy.
Yeah.
But I don't. Is it
yeah.
good?
I
don't know.
You know, it's
weird.
It feels terrible.
It feels like a weird game.
But I think if you took those
By Mario
levels
standards.
and made it feel less shitty, and you still had the airplane and like a submarine or whatever
Yeah.
else, like that'd still be fun.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, you don't have to swim through the water levels. You get a submarine.
The Powerball picks up coins.
Yeah.
And you have a Powerball instead of a Fireball because I don't know.
Hey, check this out. In Super Mario World 2, Yoshi turns into like a submarine and a helicopter and stuff.
That's not the real world.
What was that? It's-
Yoshi doesn't do that here.
All right.
Pretty cool.
Derek from Tennessee. The Orlando McDonald's is, or at least was when I was there 20 years ago, a 2-story monstrosity.
Wow. Disgusting.
Oh, is this the one that serves pizza?
And the self-proclaimed biggest McDonald's in the world, although apparently this is not actually true. I'm sorry, they're saying they claimed it to be the biggest McDonald's in the world.
Maybe it was at one time, and then
I mean, I guess there's one in Singapore.
Yeah,
it's designed as a tourist trap for people visiting Disney World. So as a trapped tourist, I was intrigued to see pizza on the menu and had to try it. I thought you guys might want a first-hand account, so here you go.
Let's hear it.
It's a bad pizza.
What?
How could it be?
I'm just imagining like a bottom Big Mac bun covered in sauce and
In
cheese.
in my head, it's square, like school lunch pizza.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's like one pepperoni
It's like
on
a
it.
rectangle. It's sad.
Or even worse, those
Extremely
chunks of
limp.
pepperoni.
Oh God, that's
I love those little cubes.
yeah. You put what if you put those on there with actual pepperoni?
So that's okay.
So I think the chunks of pepperoni, they just don't. There's not enough.
I come to pepperoni for a slice of meat that's got a crisp edge to it.
Yeah.
And when I get those little chunks, I don't get that crisp edge. It's not worth it. Might as well eat jerky like a fool.
Would you ever put
food.
jerky on a
Yeah.
pizza?
Yeah. Okay, sure.
Too chewy.
What kind?
The kind that was less chewy.
Okay, then yes.
Put some turkey jerky in
Very
there.
thinly cut jerky.
Sure.
Throw some Slim Jims on there.
Yeah.
No.
Slim Jim on
Okay,
pizza.
no.
It's
No?
greasy
No.
enough.
No.
That's
Split
just
it
a
open.
fucking
Yeah,
grease
you need,
straw.
you need
That's
another
all a Slim
layer of
Jim is.
grease. Just wring out a Slim Jim over a pizza
God, no.
and then rub it on your fucking face.
I feel like this pizza is just like a slice of cheese, not like
Yeah.
grated cheese. It's just like
Right.
one single slice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Square. Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
No more additional detail about the pizza?
Nope.
Just
Come
not
on,
good.
dude.
That's it.
That's it. Give us
How
like,
much was it?
Tell us about its mouthfeel.
Well, it's hard to judge price because if it's a tourist trap,
And it was 20 years ago.
yeah, we would need to know the price of the Big Mac to like relative to work it out.
Aiden from Illinois. Back in 2013, when Capcom revealed Deep Down, pour one out, it was announced that it was running on a new engine called Panta Ray. It was designed specifically for PS4 and supposedly intended to replace MT Framework as Capcom's engine of choice. This was 6 years ago. Fast forward to today, and Capcom still hasn't released a game that runs on Panta Ray. Mega Man 11 and Monster Hunter World both use MT Framework. Street Fighter V and Marvel Capcom Infinite use Unreal. And RE7, RE2, and Devil May Cry 5 all use the new RE engine, which seems to be a pretty stellar engine itself. So what happened to Panta Ray? Was it a casualty of Deep Down's development hell status? Did it just get rebranded as the RE engine? Well, I don't know a whole lot about the process of creating a brand new game engine. I'm sure it can't be cheap and doesn't seem like something they just scrap.
Right.
Even if Deep Down was having development issues, I'd be interested to know if you guys have heard anything about its fate.
I have not, but
Yeah.
you know, like if an engine, if an engine is fucking bad, or you know, if it's not going to be easy for you to work with, then at some point it's worth it for you to cut your losses.
Yeah, like maybe they encounter some sort of severe bug that they just like, it's fundamentally.
Or hey, it'll be really good for this type of game, but we make more than just that type of game.
Yeah,
so it's not going to save us money to use it. So
I think more fundamental decisions about the way it was architected might have been the wrong decisions or something like that.
yeah, maybe they made early judgments about how the PS4 will work, and those proved to not be true. Or maybe all that work just got renamed to the Resident Evil engine.
Yeah.
and
that is entirely possible.
Like we don't
Half
actually
the
know.
reason I pulled this email was just like, hey, remember Deep Down?
Right.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, they were pitching that as a free-to-play game.
Yeah,
weren't
they said it was free to play. I Googled, and apparently they gave game demos. Like, there's footage out there at trade shows of them playing it.
Yeah.
I gotta say
Nothing.
the RE engine is the best engine out there on the market for weird pulsating globular things. There's just so
absolutely.
much
All right.
really good.
And also like fast food, like you see a burger in like
Yeah.
Resident Evil, it looks disgusting.
yeah,
Like
any sort of
this-
grotesque,
yeah.
glowing, pulsating, orbular.
Oh, they made pizza look really good in Devil May Cry.
Oh yeah,
Oh my god. I was craving some pizza.
Mm.
you want to go to
just from the-
McDonald's, Orlando?
Yeah. Which floor?
2,
2.
an upper decker, we call that.
Yep.
Andrew wrote this email.
Hi.
Breath of the Wild was released 2 years ago. 2 years is kind of a guesstimate of when we can see ideas from a game appear in other games. Shorter for indies, longer for AAA, obviously. What ideas from that game do you want to see appear in more games? Personally, I like that all tools at your disposal all tools are at your disposal from the start. In many similar games, in most Zelda games, you can encounter a puzzle that you don't know if you can solve right now or not, or you need to wait to get some item or power or whatever. In Breath of the Wild, I know that I can solve it, or at the very least, I can put a marker on the map until that realization of, oh, you can do this with that occurs, and I can go back and solve it, and all similar puzzles.
I don't like that.
I love that.
I don't like that.
Dude, that's amazing.
No, I like classic Zelda structure more of like.
Yeah, but they made so many of
this
those.
is-
Like, it was such a breath of fresh air.
I have literally nothing from that game I want added to other
Oh,
games.
dude.
I like marking the map. That's pretty neat.
I love everything about that game.
That's not new though. I mean, that's.
But like, those are two separate things. Like, you can love everything about that game, but like, how much of that game would you want to see leak into other games? Like, what specific?
Ooh, I want more weapon durability in other games.
what
okay,
specific
fine, whatever.
things?
Like, not everything.
Yeah.
I love they give you everything from the start. I love that you can do everything in the game in whatever order you want.
I think all of that works in service of that particular game.
Yeah.
But I think that the other approaches are valid for those types of games also.
But
Like,
it-
I don't
yeah,
know
sure,
that I
but
necessarily.
Not every game needs to be Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
everything that we're talking about here is embodied in a specific philosophy that game had about open worlds.
Totally.
And other open world games could benefit from that.
Yeah,
And
but
we haven't
yeah,
seen it
I
yet.
could see that.
I guess that, yeah, but I guess the thing I would think is, like, Zelda also benefits for, like, all of that stuff is in service of that one game.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you plucked one or two elements out of it and dropped it into another kind of more traditional game, they might get in the way.
Maybe.
Like, I feel like some of those systems, like everything works in concert in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it is a special game.
Now, you have to look at what kind of story they're setting up in this case. They're just like, hey, here is a list of things you need to go do, and then you can go do whatever. Like, Just go do them however you feel like.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, for more story-driven... Like, that game barely has story.
Yeah.
So, like, for more story-driven games, that might not work as well, but...
And
all those ideas, I feel like, are really the same thing. It's like giving you everything up front, letting you do everything out of order, letting you beat the game in 30 minutes after you start a new file if you want to. Like, it's so open-ended and flexible that...
Yeah.
I think all those things are a very specific philosophy.
And I would like to see more games like that, but I think like it's not something where I would want to see like any one piece of that in another game.
Sure.
Or that I need it, I guess. Like, like, sure, you could probably, the map marking, like there's useful stuff.
The thing I really want other games to take a lesson from is, and I mostly know about this from like their GDC presentations and stuff, is that they thought really hard about like sight lines, like shapes of terrain and like what you can see from a given point,
right?
And how they can sprinkle cool stuff around to just like, lead you from place to place and give you that sense
orient you in the world.
Yeah, and also just give you that sense of discovery all the time without having a fat arrow saying like, hey, over this way, there's cool stuff. Like, you just see it, because they thought about what you could see from any specific vantage. A lot of very close attention paid in that game to a lot of stuff like that. Tim from Massachusetts. This week in my public relations case study class, the case we were analyzing was how Sony handled the PSN outage and breach in 2011. My question is, what do you guys remember about that time since you were in the industry? I wasn't too into video game news then, so this case made me curious. Thanks. I totally get your devious attempts to get us to do your homework for you, but...
I'll handle this one.
No. I don't know. Like, we were at this website, and I don't remember...
GeoHots.
A ton of, like...
George
Hots.
Specifically, like, Sony's response. I feel like, didn't they kind of...
There was sort of a, hey, we're working on it.
Yeah. Didn't they kind of fumble it for a while?
Yeah, I seem to remember their response not being great, and then they had to make good on the back end.
Yeah, particularly in light of, like, people's credit card data getting breached. Like, bad stuff got out there from what I remember, and they were not, like, super contrite about it at first.
I feel like there was a lot of information swirling.
Yeah.
Because some of it, like, not necessarily true, because...
Yeah,
Sony wasn't always
weren't they
like,
just not
clear
being...
about the scope of it, and all that. But the thing I remember most of all is that it was a big release day. Like that was when Mortal Kombat came out. That was when that last SOCOM came out. Games that like you would want to play multiplayer.
I don't think it was
Mag was
okay.
before that.
Was it MK9?
Yeah, it was MK9. That's what I was saying. It was MK9 and SOCOM were out that day.
I remember we picked up like 3 games at the Best Buy that day
to
stream, and then PSN didn't work.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the
Which
other
for
game
SOCOM
was.
was like devastating.
Yeah, totally.
I
I cannot remember what that third game was. It wasn't Portal 2, was it? That can't be right.
That might actually sound like the right basic time frame.
It was totally Portal 2.
Yeah.
That also came out that day. That's less of an online game.
Yeah.
But still, especially with all the Steam integration they had in Portal 2
Right.
on the PS3, how big a deal they made out of that.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like, none of that stuff
none of
worked.
that
I mean,
worked.
yeah. I mean, that was the initial catastrophe. Like that, you can't blame the timing of that on Sony, but you can blame their response afterwards.
Yeah.
Which
That
remember
stuff was not.
I remember being spotty.
Yeah.
Also, wasn't that like a 3-month thing? Wasn't it,
It was
down for
The
like?
outage was.
Wasn't it down for most of the summer?
Considerable.
No, the outage was like a couple
12
weeks,
days
like
or something.
12 or
What?
17 days. Yeah,
No,
but there was issues like
lingering issues,
Yeah.
or like parts of it did not come back up. Like maybe some of the billing stuff that they leave down until they fixed it, or
maybe that's what it was.
yeah.
Oh, okay. This says the outage lasted 23 days.
Okay.
So you're talking about like when you couldn't log in or do anything.
Right, yeah, you could not play video games on the internet
Okay.
on a PlayStation.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I feel like there were some parts of PSN that weren't functional for a while.
Yeah, I think
After
that's
that
right.
sounds right.
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. During the first week of May, some PSN services would be available, according to this Wikipedia page.
Or like basic
So it's like-
matchmaking. and
It's like friends list,
Yeah.
chat functionality, online gameplay, access to music unlimited.
Ooh.
thank God.
Yeah.
So yeah, some
Those are rough
They
functional.
put a
weeks,
limit on my
man.
music, and I didn't like it.
It seems like
I'm coming for you, GeoHots. We're trying to limit my music.
I don't think it was GeoHots. Was this Team Lizard?
maybe. No, I don't remember.
Lizard Squad? Is that what it was?
Lizard. I thought Lizard Squad went to jail.
I think
Eventually.
Yeah, I think
Went
they
to
eventually
Lizard
did,
jail.
didn't they? Yeah.
I think they went on to rule the world.
Oh shit!
Oh wow! Apparently Congress got involved.
Yeah, like after that, like
My kid says he
Company-
can't
when
play the Mortal
companies-
Kombat. What
when
we gotta
companies got
investigate.
hacked and like it was credit card information
Yeah.
that gets stolen, they were required to let the public know
Yeah, like
as soon as possible.
says Kaz Hirai
Yeah.
had to provide written answers to a House subcommittee about this stuff.
That's right.
You're in
I
trouble.
I forget. I'm trying to find what games, like how the free game stuff worked, because like ultimately that was what
That was
they-
like post. That was like there was a class action, or maybe there wasn't even a class action. It was just like, hey, because of the outage, we're offering you this, and if you accept this, you are accepting our make good and cannot sue us.
It was like games, and then we tacked
was
the
some
amount
time,
of days
yeah.
worth onto
the
PS
Welcome
Plus.
Back program was first announced like like 2-3 weeks after the outage
Welcome
started.
back from your involuntary leave.
Yeah.
Yes, the Welcome Back program, it looks like it was 30 days of free PSN. 30 days of curiosity.
Oh,
Curiosity,
yes.
which is their like paid like video magazine thing or whatever, wasn't it?
And then it was, let's see, two free PS3 games and 2 free PSP games.
Yeah.
So it was like, and that varied by region, but Wipeout HD, Little Big Planet, Infamous, Super Stardust HD.
I remember owning all of the games
Yeah.
that they offered and being like, all right, well,
Yeah.
whatever.
Anyway,
Sue them.
it was it was kind of a different time, but also their response, I remember being,
I just remember there being a lot of confusion.
yes.
because I mean, nothing like that had ever happened before to that scale.
Yeah.
So they didn't really have like a playbook to go by.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty wild stuff, for sure. Let's see. Rahul has a question. I'm listening to an old Bombcast from E3 2011. There's that 2011 again. Jeff mentions Ed Boon might be the most interviewed person on the site. Who do you think holds that title now? Still Ed Boon? John Drake? Let's hear your guesses. I bet it's-
Interviewed.
I bet it's still Ed. Well, that would somewhat be limited by how many games they've put out,
Right.
because those would be the times he was available for interview.
Would you say that a podcast guest also counts as an
Yeah,
interview?
sure. In that case,
Oh,
my
jeez.
God, I don't like where this is going.
I'd say it's either Lang or it's like Mark and John.
Would you call the stuff we do with Lang an interview?
It has been, yeah. There definitely
yes,
been,
there have been
no,
interviews.
There have been serious
But in
discussions.
the most interviewed, like to qualify.
Well, that's why I ask. Like, if you consider like a podcast guest thing,
Yeah, I think it counts.
I mean, by that token, it's Will Smith
Probably, actually.
of Foo VR.
Yes. Yes.
Hoover.
Hoover.
I bet it's still Ed among like pure game developers who we interviewed about their product.
Yeah.
Probably. I had to guess. All right. Last email, Eric from Kansas City.
Ed Boon's a stellar guy. He's just so nice.
Very nice
Yeah,
guy.
it's great.
He's a very nice guy. I was recently at a family gathering, and after some conversation with my uncle, I discovered that when he gets a hole in his sock or some other type of damage that is beyond repair, he throws the damaged sock away, but also throws away the other sock in the pair. All of his socks are the same. Why is my uncle sacrificing the other sock when he could easily migrate that sock into the rest of his identical sock population? Does he need to appease some sort of sock god that I'm not aware of? Please help.
Well, you got to figure that other sock is probably worn just as much.
That's
And
gonna
if
get
it
a
doesn't
hole
have
in
a
it.
hole, it's going to have it any day now.
Any day now.
Wouldn't you assume all the socks are equally worn, though?
You fucking shut up, man.
No.
So you just throw it back in
Leave
there.
this logic out
No
of it.
way.
That sock
I mean,
will
unless you're like very strict about I am wearing
That
socks
sock will
exactly
pair.
one time a day and then immediately taking it off and putting on a new pair,
Yeah.
then yes, you can assume that
That sock's partner feels that hole.
That loss.
it'll never be
Yeah,
full
that
again.
loss will never.
It'll never be the same again. Yeah, it's putting some.
Yeah,
good effort.
that's a bad policy.
Yeah.
All right, let's figure this out. All right, a sock leaves Kansas City traveling at 70 miles per hour heading west.
Okay.
You throw it in the trash.
At the same time, another pair of socks. No.
Where's Kansas?
All right.
No.
Is it east?
Somewhere in the middle. I don't know. It's
Is it east,
east.
of here?
It's east of here.
Okay.
I super have this problem because I've been wearing the exact same type of socks for like 12 years.
Good.
And some of those old socks are still in there with a bunch of new socks.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Get rid of the old socks.
Get rid of the old ones.
But
as soon as I soon as I
Rotate your
notice a
socks
hole,
like you rotate
I,
your tires every 5,000 miles.
Clockwise.
I just wear them inside out now.
all
No,
right,
if I get a hole in my sock, I throw it.
here's what you do: throw out all your socks,
but not the part.
buy all new socks.
Yep.
Never wash socks until all the socks have been worn.
I need to do this.
Then you can guarantee that every sock has been worn
Yeah.
in
You
equal
clear
amount.
up your life.
yeah.
Let's take it one step further. Never wash socks. Just buy new socks.
buy new
Never
socks.
wear socks.
Okay.
Oh.
Wear some Crocs.
Or shoes. Oh, wait.
Ugh.
Yeah. Get
Eh?
way into Crocs.
Ugh.
Huh?
Okay.
Can we?
Sandals.
I've
Wait,
got
is there-
some.
Is,
Yeah.
there, is there something we need to know?
No.
Okay.
Foot check.
Oh, no. Wow, those are definitely not Crocs.
It's got Crocs.
Okay.
It's not Crocs.
Not
All right.
Crocs.
Not Crocs.
Yet.
Studio Crocs.
Yep.
See, okay, before that email about the business casual thing started popping up, I was thinking, like, you know what? I wear boots all the time, but I got to let my feet breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll get some slides for the office or just for the studio.
Sure.
And then I saw that email. I'm like, well, fine. I feel targeted. I'm not going to buy studio slides anymore.
I felt like the business casual. What was it? It was the announcement of like, hey, company wide, the dress code is now business casual.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What was it before?
I feel like it was
Yeah.
higher than that before.
Okay.
Oh,
Not here
Oh.
necessarily, but
Right.
this was all CBS. So there has to be some division of this company where they've been wearing suits every day like a bunch of suckers.
yeah.
It can't be this building.
Probably New York.
No, not this building. Yeah, Vinny wears a suit until this announcement went out. I know that Vinny and Dan and Alex,
yeah.
they would change to be on camera because they have to project that youthful vibe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it
they
worked
would
out
head-
for Dan for Die Another Friday.
exactly.
Yeah,
You
I
just
mean,
not switch out.
kept
Yeah,
it
they
on.
they have to head into wardrobe before every stream.
Exactly.
Unfortunately for them.
Makeup. Wardrobe, then makeup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in LA and somebody in New York is wearing a suit every day at this
Right.
company.
Yeah. But
For
I
sure.
guess I read that and went like, I don't even know if like we're meeting the business casual standard, and I hope that no one brings that up ever. But I'd say if you need some studio slides, I'd say go for it.
All right.
Wait,
I
what
think
about a
that's-
slide from our desk to the studio?
I don't think that.
We could start on the
different-
second
it's not-
floor.
Okay. Well, we would have to go up to the second.
Oh, you could take a ladder.
What if we built an ice luge in that central staircase that goes all the way up, and then
Yeah,
just
alright.
poured vodka down?
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, great.
just randomly pour vodka. Like none of us have to actually be at the bottom of it.
No,
No,
just
someone
like,
has to.
someone's
If
gonna
someone
be there.
happens to be there,
okay.
like we'll set up some kind of motion sensor. So
Okay.
if there's fluid run down the luge, there's an alarm. So someone can run and get to the bottom of it. And
Wait. Now there's an alarm involved with this luge.
we'll get an Arduino.
This is getting too far. I'm out.
Sounds more fun than that little basketball machine that's out there anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ice luge. Yeah.
All right, that's it for emails. Thanks
That was
for
42,
That was 42 emails.
Yep, that was all of them.
Wow.
That's right. Now we have none left for next week.
Oh man.
Oh
Crap.
no!
What are we gonna
Better
do?
send in some emails to
That's right.
bombcast@giantbomb.com.
That's right. Where do people send after show stuff to?
Do they call us at 707 exit flu and
Yeah.
leave a voicemail?
Okay.
Or further instructions are available to contact us live while we're live.
Oh,
We don't give out that information
Okay.
just anywhere.
Hey
got it.
Jeff, when are we going to be live?
Soon.
Very soon. If you're
Wow.
listening.
Yeah, if you're watching live right now, then stay tuned.
just leave the stream right up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually throw on some jams. It's a good time.
Put on
We'll
the
have fun.
slides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I sometimes eat food in front of a
Yeah.
camera.
Are you gonna eat? Do you have food?
I do. I've got pizza.
Okay, then
Is
I'm
this
gonna.
your like mini mukbang channel?
Ugh.
Mini mukbang.
Nice. Get a hot plate in here.
Mickey and Mini mukbang.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Hmm.
we can't afford to stink up this room. There's no ventilation in here.
Too
Leave the
lazy.
door open. Hot plate.
We'll do it in the
Hot
the
plate.
GameSpot studio.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
idea.
Okay. Yeah. We'll set up a hot plate in there. Also, I'm looking at multiple events in
Those
this
don't,
room.
those don't work.
None of those go out.
Oh.
They just feed back in.
Okay,
From one
yeah.
event to another.
They feed in from the GameSpot studio.
There's-
Oh fuck.
Those are covered with aluminum foil on the other side.
Yeah, it figures.
All right.
Oh well.
All right, stay tuned for the after show if you wanna, or come back next week.
And
No,
you
do it
do.
either way. You
Yeah,
have to.
even if you don't want
It's
to.
the law.
Just leave this browser
By
tab
accepting
open.
our cookies.
That's
You
right.
Yeah.
Yep. Too late. All right. Well, we'll see you next week here for another edition of this podcast. Bye.